But we have a new mayor in the city of 1 million people. That could be exciting for some. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
As a new resident, new mayor, new era, why not?
We're teaching you. You didn't know who these people are. But
I have
we're
no
getting
idea,
there.
man. I don't care about politics. I probably
You don't care about the city of Omaha.
No, I care about the city of Omaha, but I'm just getting to the point where it's like, at some point, these elections will start affecting my pocketbook.
Have you ever heard of either one of them?
Well, like through you guys talking about them, like, but did I do okay? If you were to ask me who would I vote for,
Yeah.
I would have no clue. I would have no idea. I don't know. I didn't do any research or anything, and I didn't vote in this election. So everybody should be thankful that I can't even vote in this election. So there you go. But congratulations to John Ewing Jr., new mayor of Omaha, in a heated race. So heated.
Wow.
Did you just see the
Wow.
I mean, I care about the city, and yes, but I'm just not.
You couldn't vote here. That was
I couldn't
thing.
vote. I couldn't vote.
You don't want to be a citizen of the city?
No, I'm going to be a citizen of the city.
Within
It's got to be a couple days. It's got to be soon. I'm supposed to be on a flight to Chicago, so I need to figure it out.
Congratulations to everybody that ran. Whether you're a winner or a loser, that's not an easy thing to do, but historic night here in Omaha. We're here for 4 hours of breaking down the race. What went wrong? What went right?
No.
People in West Omaha and everybody else that voted. What happens to the streetcar, the red light tickets?
No,
all of that kind of stuff.
No.
What happens to my wheel tax?
We might as well talk about cricket. I mean, this is.
We can't. I think they got a big event coming up in Jamaica.
You know what? You would know if they had a big event coming up in Jamaica. You'll probably come up on here the next game and be like, "You see what Coley did?" And be like, "Nope, no, I didn't."
Did you see what happened in baseball last night? Oh no! In Jamaica, our baseball is cricket. So welcome in everybody on a Wednesday, a happy hump day. The weather is beautiful. It's the NFL schedule release day. Whoa! I was expecting.
We're gonna get a bunch of fun.
I thought
videos.
it's tomorrow.
Whoa.
I thought it's tomorrow. Isn't today the 13th?
Oh, Matt.
Oh,
just
Lord.
Look
Oh,
at
my
the
gosh.
StreamYard. Just look at the StreamYard time.
Is today the 14th? Oh, it's one of those months, man. I get paid tomorrow though. Hey, shout out.
Wow. Okay.
The big sports book opens back up tomorrow. It is schedule release day. I don't like how much I like put investment into the schedule.
Well, clearly, because you didn't know what day it was.
No, I didn't know what day it was, but that has nothing to do with the schedule. That it just has everything to do with the fact that I'm just out of it. But no, I hate the fact that I already know who they're going to play. I hate the fact that I know that the Chicago Bears have a very, very tough schedule, but yet I'm going to find out the order today. Like it's going to like superly affect the results of the season. But they have a grip on us. They have a grip on us.
That is the NFL. You know what I'm excited for?
What are you excited for?
And you know what? The schedule release is not for everybody, but some it is. Like yesterday, all I could imagine in cubicles throughout the state of Nebraska. You're on your computer. It's towards the end of the day. And all of a sudden, if you're on X, you got TweetDeck up if you've illegally downloaded it or paid for it. Some of you are bougie.
I pay for it.
But you can't remember anything else.
It's not true.
You were banging away.
Sure.
You were doing the numbers. And then all of a sudden, a kick time came in. And you're like, we got one. And you're looking around. Everybody puts their head up outside of the cubicle, outside of their office. Like, 8 o'clock. We got it. Cincinnati. Look at, we got one. And then it just into the AOL
What are you
Messenger.
catching a carp?
It's like, we got it. We got one. 8 o'clock. Oh. That was the reaction around here yesterday.
It sounds like the ending singer Trading Places right there.
Kind of it does. ESPN announced that Nebraska's playing at 8 o'clock against Cincinnati. So you get that. That's the little tease. It's a little, it's a little tickler.
Little fondle.
And then today, you get the NFL schedule release. But you know what I'm most excited about?
What are you most excited about?
A lot of people out there will say, you're an idiot. They've said that many times to me.
I get that all the time.
They'll say, you know what? Why do you get so excited about a schedule release? The games are the games. You just play one game after another. And I said, you know what? Some of us want to go to games, so it impacts us greatly.
Yes.
I'm going to New York City with my buddy Richie to go see the Giants and the Chiefs. I am already, Chief tickets go on sale tomorrow. But what I most like, for all of you Debbie Downers out there about the NFL schedule release in the middle of May, you'll watch the videos.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
The social media teams in the NFL, which try and top each other, they are licking their lips. They're like, I can't wait until 7 p.m. Central Time tonight to just drop our video.
it's going to be creative this year. They get better and better.
The Chargers
as the years
always
go
throw
on.
something.
The
new
Titans are
together.
pretty good. Is that a good?
Titans have gone. I don't know if they did last year. You're right. They usually are pretty good.
Yeah.
But what they do, remember, they went to the streets of Nashville
Yeah,
Oh, that
because
was
this
great.
is
Man on
in
the street
Nashville
style.
on Broadway, which is just way too many people that have no business being there.
Agreed.
But a lot of bachelorette parties
So many.
are there. And remember, they went on the street and they were asking logos.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
It was great.
The Rams usually have a good one. I think the
Yeah.
Chargers usually have a good one. They anime. Remember?
You brought up Atlanta. Did you say Atlanta?
Chargers is the one I said.
Atlanta had a good one last year too. So
what did theirs include?
I think it was one. It was a meme one. It was
Anime.
yeah, something like that.
Remember the
I remember I liked
Cowboys a
it.
couple of years ago had
Yes.
Post Malone going into Jerry Jones's office as the mailman.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty good.
I think the Bears had like a sentimental one that had to do. yeah,
Somebody's gonna do a really serious and sad
sentimental
one.
no,
schedule release.
we are the sentimental Bears,
This
man.
is-
Like
this
it's
is a
like
happy
Virginia's
day.
no longer there, so I think the sentiment might be gone. But as when she was alive, it was all lovey dovey and honoring the NFL. It was something cute or whatever. I think we honored Peyton, but regardless, is it good if you're the Titans? If you're known,
Hold on here.
yeah, go ahead.
How do you honor somebody with a schedule release?
I think they did
So
something
it
where
was sappy?
I think he was running across. Like
Did you
they
guys go
shoot-
4-12 that year? Then
Yeah, we always do. I mean, what year are you talking about? I mean, there's a lot of
I think I am more optimistic about your Bears than you are. This is weird.
what? Why would I be optimistic?
Because you got a good team. You got a good head coach.
Okay, so
You still have Kevin Warren in your
But-
front
but-
office and the McCaskies, but
but I am now double dipping in the there's a lot of optimism that is always followed by despair when it comes to my football teams.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
So-
fair. You've been a Bears fan. You've been beaten down,
And I've been
but I'm telling
and
you,
I've
you should be optimistic.
and I've gone to Nebraska for the last 4 years and have followed this team and
We're not going to dwell in the past. We're going
I-
to stop dwelling in the past. That is a rule. We had a consortium yesterday of sports talk hosts in the state of Nebraska. We all got on a Zoom call, and the
why wasn't I?
the commissioner
invited?
of the sports talk world of Nebraska said, "You guys need to stop dwelling in the past. People don't want to hear you about dwelling on the past. And you know what? Be nicer to people that listen to your show or consume your content."
Look, when you keep getting your heart broken over and
we
over
got
again.
hollered at by the commissioner of sports talk radio in Nebraska
Who,
yesterday.
why wasn't I on this call?
I think you were busy.
I wasn't busy. What do you think? I go to luncheons and then I nap and then I get ready for the show. That's how I live my life. Or I golf with listener Terry.
Shout out Terry. Shout out
Terry.
Tiburon.
Yeah, shout out to him. Hey, we play tonight after a week off.
What are you guys
Play
playing?
we're Trap Patrol. I don't know who our
That's the name of your team?
that's the name of our
I
team.
like that.
Yeah.
Trap Patrol?
Okay, but there's so much sand at the course,
Yeah.
and
Beautiful course.
it's such a great course.
in great
but-
shape.
It's getting better. Like the greens are a couple weeks behind, is what I was told, but the fairways are very, very nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't get to play out there very often, but it is
Sure.
the people that run Tiburon do a great job.
The designs of I like how many dog legs there are. I don't know if golfers ever said that, but I actually do like
They have said it this morning.
yeah.
You are up first.
I do like a
Celebrate.
hey, everybody knows
Yeah.
about Matt McMaster. He likes a good dog leg, all right? Preferably to the left, so my lefty swing can cut toward the fairway, toward the hole.
Are they saying that on the blogs? You like a good dog leg?
Matt McMaster knows nothing about Nebraska football, but he likes a good dog leg.
He's one of us.
He's one of us. He likes to hook it. Where were we? Commissioner. Why wasn't I on this call?
I'm telling you, you were busy yesterday. But you're not supposed to.
wasn't.
We're not supposed to dwell in the past anymore. But wait till people hear a segment we're going to do. We're going to dwell way in the past.
Way too far in
Yes.
the past.
All right, coming up on the show, Marty Cordero is going to join us, the
Hey.
general manager, president of the Storm Chasers, and still Union Omaha. We will pose the question to him. It's been kind of quiet with the Union Omaha new stadium that Mayor Gene Stothert, until June 9th, was involved with helping out Union Omaha get a stadium downtown. There hasn't been a lot of news on that. We'll see if we can get caught up with Marty on that. Storm Chasers are home. They won last night against the Clippers of Columbus 9-3. and probably was buoyed by the fact that they signed, or the Royals did, and they'll assign him to Omaha when he's ready. 45-year-old Rich Hill. That if Rich Hill ever makes it back to the majors, he will have played with 14 different teams, which will equal the record of Edwin Jackson. But as some like to call him, Dick Mountain could be in a Storm Chaser uniform sooner than later. But the Storm Chasers are home the rest of the week. The weather's warming up. It's going to be the warmest day of the year today.
Dick Mountain.
90. Rich Hill.
Oh, Richard. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought we were on a Nick Foles. I thought it was more Nick Foles and not name adjacent.
Nick Foles will not be in a schedule release video. Probably not.
You don't know. I mean,
what if he could be on a few of the teams, I guess. You're right.
Talk about dwelling in the past. I mean,
the Storm Chasers are home this week for baseball that include the state baseball tournament later this week, beginning at Tal Anderson, and then next week for the championships out at Warner Park. So MC will join us coming up at 8:30. John Walker in at 9. Ass beaten last night over at Tal Anderson.
Jeez.
Creighton 19, Omaha 3. Love me some run rule. I don't care what Tony Vitello of Tennessee says. I love you long time. But you say, oh, I don't like the run rule. The run rule is saving some of the college baseball games that have been played in this area. So John will come in at 9, and then Brandon Vogel will stop by at 9:40 to share his excitement of an 8 p.m. kickoff in Kansas City at Arrowhead in 14 Thursdays from tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Well, tomorrow also.
Okay.
Tomorrow is also.
I love you tomorrow.
100 days to kickoff in college football.
How many accounts do you think we're going to get that go 100 days till college football? And then 99 days until college football. Well, then 98 days till college football.
I hope we get plenty because I hope they do their best player that's ever worn 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, 92, 91, 90.
Ooh, I don't
89,
know.
88. Bottles of beer on the wall.
I don't have a 90 and I don't have an 89. I have an 88.
You have a big passion for James Williams. I don't know if he would be in the conversation.
Well, what do you mean I have a passion for James Williams?
You like yourself some James Williams?
I just acknowledge the fact that the guy gets sacks. And I would like sacks.
Big Mac sack.
I love sacks.
Will Nebraska football get many sacks this year? You can answer that question and more on the Prairie Flower Casino hotline, 402-951-1620.
That was a good segue. Were you looking at me for a compliment there?
I'm thrown off.
Are you thrown off by the fact that I'm not gambling?
Peter, no. That's on you. That's on you. That's a you thing?
Yeah.
Peter, text Matt and tell him the show has started.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
We're live.
You're in delay here.
I'm not in delay.
You're in delay.
I'm picking up. I'm being witty right now.
It's the 14th.
I didn't get my Dundee double shot today though. I opted for a Monster Energy drink.
Put it to work.
I have a nickname now over there.
Oh, really?
Dundee
Yeah.
double
Hey,
shot.
by the way,
double shot.
great people. Hopefully they have the radio station on.
They're incredible people.
They seem to like that news talk radio though. They like some political talk over there.
Yeah, after
Over at
going
the
there for
double
about
shot.
3 months, they asked me who I was and where I worked and what do I do and everything like that. So, but one time I pulled
You
up.
would have told them, I'm on KB. They probably would have got some free stuff.
Yeah.
They love political
I
radio.
haven't gotten free stuff yet, and I do get the punch cards or whatever.
Oh, punch cards are.
But their punch
banger.
cards are weak.
What do you mean? Like the structure of them?
It's only $2
It's-
off.
Oh,
It's a 10.
Oh, so-
is it 10 to $2?
you got to get $10 to $2. You don't get it. It's not even.
Yeah,
and
it's
my
not a,
and my free my
it
cup
is
of
weak.
coffee is $3.97, and so I don't even get. It's just 50% off after I buy 10 coffees.
Peter, and I don't get there as often as you do, but it's a wonderful place. It's right
It's a
around the
great
corner
place.
from the radio
Love it.
station.
Good cup
Did they
of coffee.
change the punch card? Because I thought once you got 10, then you got a free one.
ever since I've been
Did
doing them over there,
did COVID impact the punch card at Dundee Double Shot?
it could have, because ever since I've started
Keep that
going
thing
there,
on me.
it's been the 10 and then $2 off.
It's $2
In fact,
off.
I just filled one up last week.
It does.
then
See,
I
I
went
filled
there
one
this
up last week as well, which is why
You know what? I don't.
a little low.
And you know
Any-
what? I showed restraint this morning and did not get a donut, just a coffee.
Oh, I always get a coffee.
Proud
I'm
of
getting to the
myself.
point though where I pull up. Like you take that turn, you take that
Yeah, it's a little
wide.
bit awkward turning
Yeah,
there off
it-
of 52nd.
Oh, for sure. So you got to
Or
kind of
50th?
take your time doing it.
Yeah.
By the time I pull up to the window, they already have the cup of coffee ready.
You know that you've reached a status.
Well,
then. Good job.
I just
No,
drink.
that's awesome.
I just drink black coffee though. It's not like I'm
Oh.
getting like a, caramel macchiato, no fat, low foam, 2 raw sugar, double shot Americano.
You know that order way too well.
That's what my mom gets, minus the Americano part. I was just throwing in a word.
See, I would never be able to remember all of that stuff. That's why I never
Well-
played that because I never played quarterback. Kind of goes hand in hand with my Starbucks order. Like I would be way too simple. Black, no cream or sugar. Black.
Kill.
I couldn't be a NFL quarterback.
Check latte.
For many reasons, because you'd have to rattle off, like go to Starbucks. I always tell the people when I go to the wonderful baristas at Starbucks, are they unionized yet?
Starbucks?
There's always a headline about it.
I think every city has like one bout with
I don't know.
Starbucks baristas becoming unionized. But whenever I go,
They make
in there,
hourly, yet you still have to tip them.
Oh, I thought you would follow up with that.
Well, I know. I don't.
Yeah,
What
dip,
do I have
dip
to
your
follow?
toes in a little politics?
What do I have to
here.
follow up with?
Local
Or
politics.
not politics, but a little tipping.
Let's get political.
If I'm
So you
standing, I'm
tip
not
So
tipping.
if they're hourly, you don't tip.
Like if they're making like 15 an hour or whatever. Like okay, so in the restaurant industry, right?
Yeah.
Like they are living off of those tips, like
sir.
that you have to tip in order for them to get their proper wage.
Mhm.
I have no problem tipping. That's what you do. I'm a good tipper. Okay.
Good on you.
When-
15, 18, or 20.
22.
By the way, I've seen 25 start popping up when
Okay.
they flip the screen over and you look at the options. And
15.
you're like, whoa, 25. I was,
There,
local restaurant and they had the 25 on there. I'm like, oh, okay.
some places don't even have 15 anymore.
Yeah, I've
It's-
seen that.
it's-
18, 20, 22, 25.
Yeah.
Is that the
Yeah.
usuals?
Which sometimes I'll break bread in the middle and I'll go with a 20, just because that's easy math. Regardless of that, if I am standing up, if I am vertical,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not tipping. Minus if I'm at a bar. If I'm at a bar,
Mhm.
different. But if I go to like a regular old fast food establishment and I'm standing up, I'm not tipping. They're making hourly.
The iPad flip.
What does an hourly employee make at Starbucks?
I
Peter?
don't know.
You have any idea?
This is a good question.
This is
Let's
a
see
great
what
question.
The Google thinks.
Was the Charles, was it Schultz? They take care of their employees?
In
Oh,
Omaha, Starbucks barista positions typically offer hourly wages between $15.25 and $17.30.
whoa.
All right.
Not bad.
There's one by my house. I think I can find some work.
I think you get insurance though.
I can be there at 10:30. All right. You can
So
always-
this is a facade. You actually do know all the complicated orders.
I do not. So that's when I go into Starbucks, and I don't go into Starbucks very regularly.
You don't seem like a Starbucks guy. You seem like a
local guy.
Folgers. Yeah,
I'm a local guy.
you look like you go to a nice Casey's.
I
Casey's got good coffee, by
Hey,
the way.
now, I don't mind the convenience store coffee, but I do like Dunkin'. I do
Dunkin's good.
I do like the flavored days at Scooters.
Yeah.
But we have so many really good local coffee places here
yeah.
that I don't know. I mean, unless I have a hankering for some green tea, I don't like go out of my way to go to Starbucks.
Unless I'm like, I wake
Yeah.
up in the morning really wanting matcha. I go,
There are
If-
two times. There are 2 times. We got off on this. This is Wednesday. There's only a
It's
couple
May.
times when that I go to Starbucks.
okay.
Is when Christmas time they have the free cups. Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Like I
that's-
might
yeah.
see on TV when I'm watching my morning news to get updated on everything that's going on in the world and see my weather people.
Sure.
They're like, hey, today is Starbucks Day where you get the holiday cup. And
Sure.
so then I'll just, because it's,
You'll
where,
head
you
over
know where
there.
I live.
No,
I
yeah.
don't live very far from
Well,
Starbucks.
you got to get the free stuff.
Yeah. And then maybe another time I'll be like, you know what? I'm hankering from Starbucks, but I always walk in and I look the barista in the eye. And you can tell that they're a little bit stressed out. Some places are better than others because, man, they're moving and shaking. Everything's
Sure.
going on. And I think they just talk on the headsets to be talking, even when nobody's in the drive-through.
Yeah. To look
But
like
I
they're busy.
will lessen the heat on the barista. And I will say, hey, I'm going to make it really simple on you. And their face of trepidation. I'm like, I just want a coffee. And then they have to go, venti, grande. And I'm like, can I just get a large?
Don't be that guy.
Cla-
You don't have to be that guy.
Why? What
You don't
if,
have
what
to
if
be-
I'm confused? I did not
It's-
take
it's-
Latin in school.
Have
No.
you seen the Role Models movie with the coffee scene
Yes.
where Paul Rudd's?
Yes.
In-
Yes.
In fact, That's the only one that doesn't mean large. Congratulations,
Yes.
you're stupid in 3 languages.
Look.
I just want my black. I like black.
Me too. Once you go black and never go back. Talking my coffee.
Sometimes I get an iced French vanilla, but continue on. I'm not. Hey, whoa.
It's good. It's good
How
coffee.
about that? How about that hustle tussle from Manford yesterday?
It's good
All right.
coffee, man.
You can always email us into the Equitable Bank inbox where they take banking personally. Do they offer free coffee at Equitable Bank?
I should ask Doug.
What
Doug
happened?
hasn't emailed me in forever,
Yeah.
and I feel lonely.
Missing Doug.
You're missing old man Doug.
I'm missing old
A
man
phrase
Doug.
that is mentioned regularly on 1620 The Zone.
I haven't gotten his best your best takes, and then he sends me all the
He may
things that
be
I
busy
say.
and he may be out of town. I've not periodically he has popped in.
Doug, if
some
you're
emails and
listening, I
stuff.
miss you.
Gary at 1620thezone.com or Matt at 1620thezone.com. As you've heard, the Peter Man is here. Jimmy is out again today. We have to give you an update on Jimmy because this is not good. Hold on here. This was in the middle of the Omaha Creighton game last night when I was announcing 46 different players that were playing. You thought it was pitchers for Omaha. Nobody could throw a strike. I thought they were going to pluck Durango out of the crowd and come and pitch.
Gary, get down here.
It was a brutal game. So Jimmy is headed to the urologist this morning.
Yeah.
He is hoping to be back tomorrow. So we think things are going well. But
I can't help but laugh.
because he's going to a urologist.
No, because it just I don't know, kidney stones. It's just like
That heart attack.
no.
Oh, you had a
BS.
stab.
BS.
Did you have a
BS.
multiple?
No.
No. What are you
BS.
talking about?
BS.
That's our coworker. That's our producer. That's Jimmy. Jimmy's got like the rock that people get stuck on at
Dwayne?
No, the rock that gets cars in the parking lot
Dwayne.
here in Omaha.
Dwayne.
That's what they call it.
No.
He's got that in his right there in the old peepee. I mean, and you're going, that's funny.
He's got the Bill Callahan rock.
No, it's not funny. We're hoping for the best. There's
But
a lot of stuff going on in Jimmy's life. We need his urologist. I think that's what
step
you're
up.
laughing at. You laugh at the word urologist.
I just think like because
You ever known a urologist?
why did you say that like a pickup line?
No,
You know a urologist?
when I was living in Lincoln, one of my neighbors was a urologist in Lincoln, and
How does that? Yeah, how you ever talk to him about that?
well, I mean, what do you talk to a urologist about?
I mean, it's just a very interesting job.
Um,
I'm giving him credit.
It's I don't think it's an easy job. It's a job that is in demand, and he was very good at it.
Okay, good for him. I was just curious. There's no joke there. There's no punchline there.
Okay. Do you when you meet somebody that goes, "Oh, I'm an OBGYN," do you go,
What's an
I got-
option?
"I got a question"? No. You just go, "Hey, thank you." And then, so he's at the urologist. I think
Yeah.
you're laughing because you think that word is
I
funny.
just think I'm just laughing because I love Jimmy and I know how much of a cynic that he is and how just like it how much this makes him mad that he has this because it's not like kidney stones are life threatening. Like it's not like he's battling for his life at this point.
Now,
Like
we don't know that because I don't know enough about kidney
I
stones.
don't think they're
I don't believe you're a doctor based on our
kidney
conversation so
stones
far this morning.
life threatening. Let me just make sure.
I'm sure there could be complications. Let me read a tweet there while you play WebMD.
I have it. He goes, kidney stones themselves are not typically life-threatening, but complications can happen. So maybe I shouldn't be laughing. But as far as I know, kidney stones are just an incredibly painful thing that people go
your
through.
appendix burst.
No.
Emergency
It's just I don't know. I just think like I'm
All
sorry,
these
man.
athletes are blowing out their
I'm just-
Achilles.
I'm just- I find those videos where people just land on their faces.
Know those videos.
They just
No.
they just fall
No,
down or they just
no.
end up in pain.
No,
I laugh at those videos.
No.
And Jimmy
No.
being in pain is like
No.
is crappy, but it's kind of funny because we're friends.
Because we're friends.
We're friends. It's just kind of funny.
Are you a masochist?
A little bit.
Bruin Steve writes in. As a resident of Douglas County, I look forward to the potential of voting in the next Omaha mayoral election. Bring on the annexation in the coming years. We'll see what happens. I'm telling you, it was, I know, judging by the voter turnout, not as many people care, but that's part of my world. The old little poli-sci in me. It was a big change in this city last night. All right, that's enough of politics until anybody else wants to bring it up.
Until Josh Hodson comes on the show.
I last check, there were 184 write-in votes.
So what is the line? Because I think that I don't know. I think the line is like 6.5.
Oh, how many votes he was going to get?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying, how many was he away from the winner?
No.
I think a few thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 28,000 probably. But
No, I think.
was it more than that?
Yeah.
When I checked it last night,
John Ewing Jr. got a little bit more.
it's probably since been updated.
But
6.5.
Okay.
I think that's a fair line. I think more people are aware of it.
Did we ever find out if they publish the vote totals for write-in?
They do publish,
like the individual. Like I'm sure Mickey Mouse got one. Probably Herbie Husker got one. Billy Blue Jay got one. Durango got one.
I won't look that up
Yes,
because it'll
Ted,
just waste time. But,
yes, Ted. John Ewing Jr. and his wife are grads of UNO.
The
Mavs are back.
Hell yeah for UNO. What were you saying? Oh, they do publish them.
Okay. So
But
we'll be able
we
to find
don't
out.
know. I don't think they've been published yet. Like even from like the early election or the first go around.
Channel 3. Damn. Formerly Channel 3, Sean. Now just Citizen College World Series. Channel 3, Sean. He suggests if you are in the neighborhood, I don't know. Is he a urologist? He brings up the former Lincoln Southeast fullback who played at Nebraska, Dane Todd.
Oh.
I thought Dane was a orthopedic surgeon or Dr. Todd. Judd Davies might be a urologist. Is there something about if you play football at Nebraska, because Makovica is in physical therapy in that world. If you play football at Nebraska and you play fullback, are you a doctor? What is Andy Janovich doing right now?
What is Kinnear and Bonner doing? What's his major?
Well, I hope he's playing a lot this upcoming fall. We don't need him to just depart and become a doctor.
I
that
agree.
it does take a while to become a doctor.
I really had no clue.
Yeah. All right, this is the show this morning. Good luck to everybody out there.
It's a good open.
On a scale of okay. All right.
I didn't. People
Good
are
luck
like,
on this
Keegan is
Tuesday.
like,
I mean
I didn't.
Wednesday.
I don't think I ever wished a kidney stone on someone, but here we are, Matt. I'm not. I didn't wish kidney stones upon Jimmy.
Would you like me to FaceTime our producer and say, hey, while you are.
I just know how many good jokes are going
There?
to come out of it from Jimmy. How Jimmy is going to come, like, you know that he's locked and loaded.
Now, his tone on his text was pretty serious.
Was it?
Yeah. He said, pray the young fella never gets one of these. We'll lose him for a year. We're off and running. It's Gary and Matt. Peter is in for Jimmy. When we come back, 14 Thursdays from tomorrow, how liquored up is Arrowhead Stadium going to be for an 8 o'clock kick? I'll tell you who the biggest winner of the announcement yesterday was when we returned. A little bit later, Marty Cordero joins us, John Walker, and Brandon Vogel. Good Wednesday lineup. Glad to have you in. Off and running, Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone, the stream. Hello, everybody out there. The app and wherever you might get us, including a live studio audience at 50th and Capitol on 1620 The Zone. All right, late night last night. There's a guy that's not human that plays in the NBA. I shouldn't say not human because he actually is human. He's just not normal. But Oklahoma City, strong fourth quarter. They beat Denver. They're up 3-2. Indiana's into the next round. Knicks could be into the next round tonight. The Wolves could be into the next round tonight.
I am glad that nobody saw me at the late stages of that game, the way I was screaming at the television.
Big Thunder fan.
I can't say I missed the playoff
rolls,
stress.
And the thunder rolls.
And the lightning strikes.
Denver.
That they did not want any part of being down 3-2 going back to Denver, so that was must win.
Well, I this series has been just an absolute like just banging on each other. It's been a semi banger.
Okay.
Banger.
One thing I can appreciate about Oklahoma City, and that they support the Thunder, and the Thunder have been, for the most part, pretty good, is every single time in the postseason in that building, the Thunder have an elite, and I mean an elite T-shirt game. There's not even a question of you follow the rules, except for the one clown that tries to make an example.
Yeah. Oh, he sucks.
But like last night, watching, they had the stripe out, I was like, my Kugler vision is so good to me with my eyes that I'm like, man, do I have to make an appointment tomorrow because I'm watching on TV? And but an elite shirt game.
I prefer
with a team that is elite as well. It might be one of the rare top seeds to advance to the conference finals.
I kind of prefer the white out or the blue out. Like, I don't like stripes are more like college football-esque to me. But I totally agree. Where it's super impressive.
They did the first couple games. They wore their city jerseys and did black shirts. And fans didn't really like those because they felt it looked too
Nebraska,
too many Nuggets colors.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like orange, yellow,
black shirts.
Yeah. Oh,
thank you.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's
the theme of the show today: being slow.
Keep it over there.
It's contagious, man.
Keep it over
You've
there.
become dumber since hosting,
hanging out with you.
Yeah. I've noticed it.
That might be the best thing you've said in 5 months together. I want you to know.
I was thinking about it the other day. I go, Gary used to be sharp. Now he's Gary Dole.
Did you get that email too?
Yeah. It's a good one.
I've never heard that before, Chris. That, oh, hey, you're dull on the air. You're not very sharp. So I agree.
I didn't get that email, by the way.
Oh, I got that email.
You got that email?
Yeah, and I agreed with him. I said, yeah. I said, Matt's
you're
like dumber.
Exactly.
He was like, I don't even know what I'm doing these days. Okay, I'm talking about gambling and drinking and going to bars and being on apps. I did all that when I was 21 in Lincoln.
We don't do the second and third one as much, all right? We've cut back on that. I know the audience. Right?
You gotten off the apps?
No, I'm on the apps.
Surprised you were not at Tal Anderson last night. Tal Anderson was a great atmosphere. There were singlers and minglers. There were families. It was a great mixture of people. Hey, Tal Anderson is a jewel, absolute jewel. And then when you get, Creighton and Nebraska, Omaha, they draw big crowds. And Nebraska, by the way, and it also helps you play later in the year where the weather's much nicer like it was last night, is Omaha's going to play Nebraska. Omaha and Nebraska are only going to play one time a year in baseball. So next year it'll be in Lincoln. The following year, Nebraska will come up here in the final week of the regular season. So, a chance with warm weather. But last night, Creighton and Creighton seems to draw better on the road. Because I just say, again, Tal Anderson is a jewel. It's a very convenient place to get in and out of. But last night was a great cross-section of Omaha. You had singlers and minglers. You had college students.
Yes.
You had a lot of families. You had I saw a lot of great baseball people, great baseball minds that are, old school baseball people that were there last night. Yeah, you should have been there. There were a lot of singlers and minglers that are your age that are in college that this is their last week of school. They came to Tal Anderson to let it out.
The vibes are high.
The police arrested some guy.
Oh,
hell yeah!
Did you witness the arrest?
He tried to rob. I don't know. He tried to rob something.
Oh, jeez.
One of the Omaha.
One of the concession stands.
No, one of the campus police officers was talking about him. I was leaving the ballpark last night.
I should have went. I almost went, but then I decided to pull back and watch playoff sports.
Okay.
But I did follow it on.
So I could have been smarter by watching you in action last night because it was a great atmosphere.
Yeah, you could have studied my game.
Were you?
Oh, I've seen your game.
You have not seen my game.
Hey,
you have not seen my game.
Your game is like the Cleveland Cavaliers being up 19 in the first half and losing.
I'm not a fumbler.
Keeping it to sports.
I'm not a fumbler.
Stick to sports.
I'm not a fumbler. Some would call me the Paul George of dating, where
What does that mean?
I get into the playoffs and then it just all falls apart.
I really don't think people pay enough attention to how poor the Paul George trade was, but
Which one?
we got his latest.
Because I was thinking about this last night.
It got Luka bailed him out that trade. The Paul George
this
trade
is incredible.
Brutal.
So the Oklahoma City Thunder can end up making the Western Conference Final off of the back of the Paul George trade.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like literally because that trade happened,
Mhm.
they could make the Western Conference Finals. But look at the Pacers. People forget the Pacers traded Paul George to Oklahoma City for Domantas Sabonis. And then Sabonis was traded from the Indiana Pacers to the Sacramento Kings.
Stop. You don't need to go any further. I know how that trade
for
worked
Tyrese Halliburton.
I'll take
So,
Sabonis, but
in a whirlwind way, Playoff P is potentially responsible for two teams making their conference finals in one season.
Podcast P. Was it
That's like a Bill Simmons bit right there.
was it already known that the Chiefs had a Thanksgiving Day game this year? Was that
No,
information?
that was
been announced.
No, that's new.
We have an announcement.
Oh, look.
We've got a Chiefs Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys.
Oh, you don't. Oh, so Kansas City is at Dallas.
Yeah.
That's the
Yes.
second game
Yeah.
of Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving afternoon game.
Yeah.
CBS.
Holy Papa rating.
So they played. God, didn't they play on Thanksgiving not too long ago against Dallas?
I don't remember.
That will be a ratings bonanza.
Holy Lord.
People love the Chiefs. That's what they're saying to me.
Is that what they're saying?
They're saying to me. All right.
By the way, I'd hate to be a fan of your team just because I don't want my team playing on every single holiday. I don't want every single holiday being taken up by
Oh yeah, I guess
my
they
team
do
being played. They have Christmas too.
It makes it a little.
And you're
fun.
probably playing on New Year's, if I had to guess.
You know what? When you're popular, you don't play at noon on Sundays. Also,
That's
I
what the
wanna
entire
be fair.
Colts
Is that what they
schedule
say?
will be.
There is one thing I'm very upset about the Kansas City Chiefs. Real quick here. So they did this behind the scenes thing about the 24 season called the Kingdom.
Okay.
And they're going to release it in the fall, which is very, very odd. Okay, we don't need to see that. All right? I mean, I think
Sure.
they expected the Chiefs to three-peat, but that was announced yesterday. That was a weird timing. Okay, not weird timing is what is announced yesterday at Arrowhead. I know you're supposed to, it's not a big deal, but this is the offseason. And we had a terrible day with the offseason Husker Twitter on Monday. We
Yeah.
had a much better day yesterday. I like it better when we argue over kick times and will I be able to work on Friday morning. So 8 o'clock at Arrowhead. I don't know if people that run Arrowhead
Already?
are ready for Nebraska fans
Oh,
to
yeah.
open up the season. Most of them taking the following day off. They'll spend the weekend in Kansas City.
Easily.
I don't know if that stadium, and I've been in that stadium when it's been banging, okay? When we've been kicking the butt of the donkeys and we've been going to the Super Bowl, that stadium rocks. But think about this. We have a big extravaganza on the radio station that we are involved with.
Yes.
The parking lots open very, very early on that day.
Okay.
Our tailgate party, which you'll hear more about as we move through the summer, starts 4 hours prior to kickoff. Can you imagine how liquored up Arrowhead Stadium is going to be on Thursday, August 28th, with all the Husker fans that are going to be there, that are kicking off the season, that have so much pent up, this is our year, but they're tailgating in the greatest parking lot to tailgate in
Ooh.
Kansas City, Missouri. What that atmosphere will be like. But the other winner, not just the tailgaters,
Sure.
is ESPN. You know, now being in the Big Ten, it's very rare that Nebraska plays on ESPN.
Yes.
That game being on ESPN, that is a huge, huge win for the four-letter network. That was announced yesterday. The kick time might be odd to people, but let's be honest. You ain't working on Friday.
No, you're not.
And Big Red Overreaction is going to go until about 2 a.m, and then we're going to be on the air 4 hours later recapping what was just talked about. And there's going to be so many drunk people calling in to Big Red Overreaction. You're not going to.
It is going to be a
like,
circus. It's going to be a great circus, though.
The game won't get over till 11:30. I got to be back at work. I got to go up 29.
No.
It's going to take me a while to get out of the parking lot. No, just take Friday off.
Just eliminate the
Just take
math.
Friday off. But that stadium will blow maybe a .36. It just will at 8 o'clock on a Thursday night of a holiday weekend.
I hope we have a DD. I hope everybody's got a designated driver. I hope that everybody's making the plans.
They're going to allow Husker fans to stay overnight.
Let me tell you something.
Bring your RVs down 29.
How long do they usually let people hang out in that lot post game?
So I like
hang out. Get out of that lot.
No. There's no really fast way.
It's not easy to get out.
Yeah, no, I know.
I usually. I like to linger 2 hours after the game is over. Well, because traffic is, you got 76,000 people leaving.
When I was getting out of there opening day this year, I left relatively soon after the game, but there was people throwing ball around, like having more.
Just like a part, like you just kind of hang out and party a little bit after.
Even most places where you tailgate, you don't want to deal with traffic unless you have to be somewhere.
Sure.
So you go back to your car after the game, win or lose, and you do a little bit of tailgating just because you don't want to. What would you rather do? Would you rather sit there, tailgate, converse with other fans, or sit in traffic?
No, I'd rather tailgate. A million %.
So, the game will go 8 to 11:30.
Well, geez.
Big Red overreaction will start at here. Put it on the board. Big Red overreaction will start at 11:36. We will sign off at 2:15.
Wow, it's gonna be a long
and the whole
night.
Radio station is in Kansas City.
It's gonna be a long night. It's
gonna
be a really, really long. But here's the thing.
I'm very excited. We have a kick time for my realtor friends out there that are putting together their magnet schedules. Hey, it doesn't.
They're getting ready.
Hey, man, they're gonna be some people that didn't get to party for the spring game. They're gonna party.
Oh, they're gonna let it out.
They're gonna party like it's 1996.
I don't.
Pent-up party.
There are some people who might have been like, "Oh, that's a little too late." It's Nebraska football. I don't care. I don't care that it's late.
Your mom and dad going, gosh, Manny. 8 o'clock seems to be a little bit. Is that gonna mess with your sleep schedule because you got to get up the next morning and you're gonna be like, Mom,
I go to bed at 12.
Listen, Mom, it's the opener. It's at an NFL stadium.
I was about to say
it's
nobody
8 o'clock.
cares. It might seem late.
It's on
cares.
ESPN.
It's gonna be incredible.
It's Sorsby must go down, and he must go down hard. It's the start of a run to be the Indiana of 2025, Mom. So shut your face.
I'll say this right now, though.
Yeah,
I think that this being on ESPN, if ESPN knew what was good for him, they'd try and stuff the ballots to make sure that Nebraska has a 24 or 25 next to their name heading into that game. Because
they don't play in the SEC.
But already heading into it, like they're going to pop a rating because it's Nebraska, right? They're going to get a lot of people watching it because Nebraska is the brand and it's an exciting start to the season, whatever. But if they could stuff the ballots and make sure that Nebraska has a number next to them heading into that game, that'd be massive just for the casual viewer. Just to be like, hey, look, Nebraska's good again. Nebraska's supposed to be good this year. Like, oh, now I'm really interested in it.
I'm looking at the Blur Events website. We need to update our side of the page here. We are sharing it with a fellow radio station.
What?
The blurevents.com/Kansas City, which is our partner in Kansas City, if you'd like to partake. Our tailgate will start 4 hours prior. That's when our pregame show will start.
Be fun. Can't wait. I'm going to have a whole roundtable.
I hope it's fun because if it does not go the way that many of us think, and, we've been teased before and we've been Husker balled
for years. I mean, like since what, 11 years at this point, we've been Husker balled?
You're a little bit young, sir. It's going back a ways. There also, yesterday was a flurry of announcements, so we get a little giddy about college football with announcements, mainly from ESPN, so that's why the Cincinnati-Nebraska game got announced. May 29th, week 0 through 3 of any of the remaining games that are on TV will be announced. So that is the Michigan-Nebraska game is outside of the window, but I would imagine in the next week, not probably this week, but maybe next week, we'll get a Michigan-Nebraska, what network that will be on in a kick time. But we have kick times. It's closer. It's getting closer, boys and girls. Screw the great night in baseball last night. We got college football. I mean, Farmageddon will be here before you know it.
We're
and we'll be-
101 days away.
I know. Farmageddon will be here, and we'll be playing a conference game in Dublin, Ireland at 11 a.m. Let's college football. I'm not the commissioner. Can we stop? I don't like
Conference games that aren't on
okay.
American soil.
Okay, I have been true to this, and you know what?
You have been. And this is, by the way, this is
hey.
something that moves to the NFL for you as
Yes.
well.
You know
like
what?
this isn't just a college football thing.
I love our international people.
Do you?
Yes.
It doesn't sound like it.
I want them next summer for the World Cup to come here.
And have a great time. What are you looking at?
Oh, I'm.
Is that Caglione?
Highlight from a ballpark that I've been to.
Who is that guy?
It's Acuna. He was in a rehab with the rookie team.
Murdered that ball. Good Lord.
So I love the international people. I want them to come for the World Cup. Okay. I love internationals. Internationals love me.
Do that.
International love.
But I vehemently disagree. You know, like the Chiefs are happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas team. I don't like a division game being played on somebody else's soil. Like I don't like Brazil having the Chargers and Chiefs to begin the year. Even though it's free on YouTube. I don't like this because maybe this is the only way to get Dublin excited is we send conference games over there. So Nebraska Northwestern go over there.
Georgia Tech, Florida State.
Notre Dame's wasn't a conference
but
game.
That was a rivalry game, though, playing Navy, like that was still an important game.
But the worst one might be because there's a connection to it, is they took Farmageddon to Dublin.
I think it's
and that's a week 0 game this year, kicking off at 11 a.m. between K-State and Iowa State. That's going to be a pretty important game. You don't know what you're going to get in Dublin. You might get to Dublin and they you know what? You get free drinks because the computer system goes down. You might get a bad pitch. You might all of a sudden have a brain fart on special teams, which you wouldn't have if you were in Manhattan or Ames.
Watch this. Hey, I'm fine with conference games being over there because especially
take Houston Christian over there.
You need a competitive game over there. You need the people of Dublin. What have the Irish to actually enjoy the game?
What have the Irish done for college football? Okay, why do we give them something? You know what? Until
the Irish
do
grow the game.
Until the Irish do something for us in college football, like send us a kicker or something like that. Why do we give them good games? Thank you.
It's not.
It's a little PSA.
Hey, is Nebraska versus
maybe I've heard international relations right there.
Is Nebraska versus Northwestern in 2021 really like a good game? One team was 3-9. One team was 1-11. Okay, it was a conference game that was competitive. You got to send them competitive games. But
no, we don't send.
You don't send them rivalry.
We send
games.
them Jacksonville.
Don't send them rivalry games. Like rivalry games make no sense. Those are the games. Like people look forward to that game and want to go to that game and mark that game on their calendar. Now that they're gonna have to go overseas to see that rivalry game. That doesn't make sense. But conference games or whatever. I don't care if Maryland is playing Iowa in Dublin. I'm not like, oh, that should be on American soil.
I like conference games internationally. I think
you have more of an argument for the NFL.
You have to be able to control what you can control.
Holy coaching cliche.
You got that. Not sure if you're going to put this on your list now that you have, crushed the hopes and dreams of anybody that's had kidney stones. I do not wish that pain on anybody. And well wishes, Jimmy.
I didn't wish it.
Matt can't wait for you to walk in so he can laugh at you.
I just can't wait for the jokes. I'm just excited.
There ain't
for the
jokes. When you've got
it's Jimmy. What do you mean there aren't jokes?
When you've got a boulder in your belly, there ain't no joke.
Well, that's after I eat Arby's.
Proud sponsor of the program recently.
I love Arby's.
I'm not sure if you're looking for a neurologist, Peter or Matt. Russ says West Side alum, 90th and Dodge, right down the street. Brett Hill.
Oh, go Warriors.
Omaha Urology Center.
Went to state soccer yesterday to cheer them on. First round victory.
Hey. Friday night at Morrison Stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a jewel.
Bummed I can't go.
Morrison Stadium for the pitch and Caniglia Field, what they've turned in for soccer is really, really nice as well. But Morrison Stadium is a jewel in downtown Omaha, Creighton's soccer complex that they play state soccer at. First of all, the view is great. Yeah. You're kicking at the one goal and you're looking right into downtown Omaha.
Yeah, it's a great view.
I mean, you're like, oh my gosh, look at that building. It is a beautiful facility. You want to do something on Friday night? You want to be Omaha-ish? I got an event for you.
Okay.
You will not be disappointed.
You've got to be at the West Side Prep boys soccer semifinal.
Is it really?
Biggest
anytime prep in Westside, and that's a
Yeah.
District 66er sitting in front of you. And I'm District 66.
I don't think I'm doing anything on Friday.
There
right
you
now.
go.
Yeah,
You
it's-
can experience the true Omaha.
walk up
Friday night at
to the
Morrison.
window, get a $10 ticket, and just
Oh, wow.
experience it. It's
Yes.
a great atmosphere. State soccer is always a great atmosphere, especially semifinal Friday.
Yes.
I'll be there.
All right.
I'll
There
be
we
there
go.
if I'm not playing poker.
There we go. Oh God.
We have a poker
Oh,
game
God.
set. I don't know if it's going to happen. So if I'm not playing poker, I'll be there.
All right. I like that.
I will.
There we
No,
go.
I'll make
Yes.
the promise. I'm half in.
Okay.
I'm
All
happy.
right. A little bit later, Marty Cordero will join us. We'll ask him about the situation with soccer. What's going on there? Plus, when we come back, my favorite sports radio topic, I'm sure, is going to come up with our good friend from Dave in Florida, the hustle tussle that was announced by Manfred yesterday. And also, we're not supposed to dwell on the past. But actually, Matt and I are going to dwell on the last 4 head football coaches at Nebraska. If you could change one thing, either to keep them employed longer or their tenure, a game or a decision, what would it be? Welcome to the offseason. Gary and Matt with Peter on 1620 The Zone. Yes. You know what? I think I've found the cure to dealing with this show.
Wow, dealing with this show.
Yeah, because I'm not. My last name's Sharp, and I've been very dull, and I apologize to our wonderful listeners out there.
They are saying that you've lost a step.
So
Father Time is undefeated.
no, that's true. That's absolutely true.
That and contagious dumbness.
I ran into some Red Bull, and
Yeah.
so I'm trying to get through it.
On the street, or like you just bumped into
I
each
went
other?
to an event, and I was handed like a case of Red Bull.
Whoa, the event yesterday?
No,
Oh,
so this
I would have
was-
been really mad if we were at the same event and you walked out with Red Bull and I didn't.
No, this was over the weekend. So I have Red Bull in my fridge, and I'm not a big energy drinker guy,
Neither
Oh.
am I.
but I have started drinking more Red Bull when I'm leaving the house in the morning. And I think I'm going to stop being dull. I think I'm back to being sharp.
Well, do you have wings now?
I do not have wings. I do not. But it's
Before this,
But you know what? The weather is warming up,
It
and
is.
you know what you're going to see on the street?
what are you going
That
to see?
Red Bull vehicle, that SUV that drives around with the
Yeah.
Red Bull can on the top, and the summer interns that work for Red Bull that'll pop in here and fill up our Red Bull refrigerator. If you're listening,
That's awesome. What is more iconic, the Wienermobile or the Red Bull machine or the Red Bull car? What do they call it?
just SUV.
The Oscar Mayer.
The Oscar Mayer Wiener Mobile.
Wienermobile.
I've never driven the SUV for Red Bull. I've been inside of the Oscar Mayer when the wheels are going
It
around.
would not shock me one bit if you drove the
No,
Oscar
they
Mayer.
don't let you
Wienermobile.
drive it.
Do you
but
need
they'll-
a
but they'll
you need
give
a
you a ride.
special? You got to have a special license for that, right?
No, you have to. It's just
Like
regular.
like a Wiener license, you know, and it's got like it's an orange card.
You can go to Las Vegas, where there are a lot of
Wienermobiles.
Wienermobiles, courtesy of 1620 The Zone. We're giving away a trip to go see Kenny Chesney at the Sphere in Las Vegas to have that experience. While you're there, say hello to my friend Brandon and his relationship with the Wynn Casino. See if he's listening this morning. We got tickets, the airfare, and your stay at the Luxor covered. All you have to do is go to our website and get qualified. Go to the contest page, 1620thezone.com. Put in your email, and we'll take care of the rest. And you could be off to see Kenny Chesney. No shirts, no shirt, no shoes, no service tour. Well, maybe not that last part, but he's great in concert. Seen him a couple of times. Puts on a banger of a show. He's going to play for about 2 hours. He's going to play all the hits. Okay.
Just play the hits.
And you could go there, courtesy 1620 The Zone. Go to the website, 1620thezone.com. Let me give a little shout out here to our streamers. Keegan is here. He doesn't like the 9 p.m. Eastern time kickoff.
Yeah, that's for basketball, but for football, I couldn't give a damn.
Chris says, I feel good about the first game. This isn't Luke Fickle's Cincinnati Bearcats. They have a returning quarterback in Sorsby. They got one of their starting tackles transferred from South Dakota. Nebraska right now is a 7-point favorite. Krecky also adds, we're going to go streaking on I-35.
Maybe you.
Good morning, Cap. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Cap. Cap's all over me because I'm making fun of his guy.
Mike checking in. Have you researched the pamphlet?
Mike has been very proud of me recently.
That's good.
Because
you got to keep Mike on the good side.
Mike has voiced that he is very proud that I set limits and I set budgets. Is Mike proud that I blew through the budget in 3 days? No, but I set budgets. I stick to the budget.
I will ask Mike later today. Do you think that you can bet on the chances of Pete Rose making the Hall of Fame at the ballpark that the Reds play in? Hello, Corporate Dan is up early this morning. PWP fan, Creighton baseball runs this state. 19-3 last night.
Hell of a win.
It was a really, really good win. By the way, D1 baseball in their latest projection of 64 has Creighton as one of the 4 to watch. But if they go 3-0 this weekend,
they're good.
They will be the number 1 seed in Cincinnati for the conference tournament next week. All right, that gets you up to date on everything that is going on. And we welcome in on the Prairie Flower Casino Hotline, Dave in SWFLA. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Hey, Dave.
You seem a little subdued.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Just working. We're in the dog days of spring football.
That's right. You got next Tuesday night?
Yeah, Tuesday night we go down to Naples. This Friday, me and some of the guys from the staff are going to go watch Charlotte Barron Collier. So there might be a Binky Waldrop sighting.
There you go. That's a longtime former coach of Charlotte.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's awesome.
But this is high school spring football in Florida, Venice, where Dave was part of a state championship team last year. They play Naples, which will be really, really good and is chock full of D1 prospects.
I mean, that's spring football in Florida, man. That's awesome. That's why best high school talent.
Oh yeah. They got a pretty good little junior running back, and I mean the spring's kind of bland. We're doing about half an install on offense, defense. We're just going to kind of run our normal thing. We'll see a lot of, believe it or not, wing T out of Naples.
Whoa! All right. I look forward to
wing
to
T
the report.
Hell yeah.
Well, they're pretty good. They got two little they've had a D1 running back for, Gary, probably last 10 years each year.
The first when I lived there and I was covering them, Carlos Hyde was the first who went on to Ohio State and then the NFL. Yeah, Naples is a banger of a high school football program. Awesome. They got a great stadium and they go all in on high school football.
Yes, they do. So a little trivia question for you, Gary, in lieu of the Pete Rose news yesterday.
All right, which is my favorite sports radio topic. Go ahead.
Yes. So Pete Rose is one of two players who led a decade, 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, in hits. Do you know the only other player to lead a decade in hits who's not in the Hall of Fame?
Ooh.
Now, here's a hint. He led the 90s in hits, and he also led the 90s in doubles.
Mark Grace.
You are correct.
Nice.
Eugene Grace.
Boy.
Our favorite slump buster. Nice. That's a great trivia question.
That is a very good one.
It shows you that stretch in the 90s that Mark Grace had, because I think, he might have had 1,700 or 1,800 hits over that decade.
He did, and I think he had 375, 385 doubles.
Dang.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, I wish he would have finished as a Cub, but
I do too. Now Longo is retiring as a Ray.
Mm-hmm.
So better career, Mark Grace or Longo?
Ooh, Longoria. He helped Tampa Bay, that 08 team, to get to the World Series.
Rookie of the year, 3-time All-Star.
Yeah, and I know, and I know your affinity for Longo. By the way, is his steakhouse still open in Tampa?
The Ducky's downtown is closing, but they're going to keep the one at the airport.
Okay, I would say Longoria.
Wow. Okay.
Well, because in his, you know what, I know he hung around a little bit, but it wasn't like he was a bum. I mean, this is a good question. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with this question.
The thing about Longo too is that he ended up having a pretty good stint over in San Francisco, even after Tampa Bay, where he was more than just a serviceable player. At the same time, though, I know there's a power disparity between the two, but Mark Grace has 500 more hits than Evan Longoria does in his career. Yeah. So I would probably go Grace, but I think you could probably sway me. Yeah. But if we're looking at their OPS, this is crazy. I'm looking at their stats now. Their OPS pluses. Can you guys guess what the difference in their OPS pluses? That's the big analytical stat.
No, we cannot.
They're the exact same. Yeah. They're both 119 with their OPS plus.
You know, one thing, and Dave, for people that don't know, Dave's a Cubs fan. The one thing about Grace that I probably doesn't get brought up as much is he was durable. He did not miss many games throughout his career.
No, and that was one of the things that hurt Longo. He had some issues off and on. I mean,
point.
They both ended their careers in Arizona.
They did. Plus, Mark Grace, I mean, both were pretty good with the glove as well.
Oh, yeah. So you think both will get in over time?
Oh,
Longo doesn't have 2,000 hits. That's the problem.
I don't think either one get in.
Yeah. I think they get into the NBA. If it was the Basketball Hall of Fame, I think they get in. But with the bar of the Baseball Hall of Fame, I don't think so.
Yeah, little known fact, Mark Grace actually had the first hit in the bottom of the ninth against Rivera in 2001?
It'd be 01, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So who will be the first Ray to get in the Hall of Fame, Gary?
Well, Wade Boggs.
Yeah, but he was, he finished as a Ray. But I'm talking,
Fred McGriff,
Carl Crawford, James Shields.
I don't know. Matt Garza's got a good shot.
Matt Carson.
Yeah, I think guys that started their career, finished their career, that it might be a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
All right, Dave. Thanks for the phone call. Great to hear from you as always.
All right, buddy.
All right, that's Dave from SWFLA. I do want to throw something in. So Dave is originally from Kearney, so that's his connection to the show.
Gotcha.
State track and field is next week over at Burke, the redone Burke Stadium.
Oh, is that all finished
I'm
up?
sure Stu will bitch about something not being done. But there is and I'm not sure what year he is in school. Zaire LaGrove Miller yesterday at District Track ran a 10.35 100. You know, Kearney has had a great track and field program. 10.35 100.
That's crazy.
And then our guy Ike Ackerman broke the Class A record again through the shot 66 and 66.5, I think, something in that range. So state track and field is next week. So comparison. So what that 100 out of Kearney, Brownow from Florida. This is like 100 degrees of separation with Dave calling in. He just won the Nebraska recruit, the 4-star cornerback who Nebraska's trying to hold on to. Just ran a 10.3 100 to win the state track and field in Florida.
Wow.
Yeah. He is with football pads on, not just running in track, with football pads on. He might be the fastest football player in the state of Florida.
That is, and by the way, that's like NFL type speed. Like, if we're just being honest with like what they produce out of Florida in terms of high school to college to NFL talent. To get if you're able to get a guy like that, it's hard not to put him on the field in some sort of capacity during their college career.
You got to get him here.
Exactly.
Nebraska has made him a major priority, and that would be because was it July 1? Didn't he indicate July 1 is when he wants to?
Yeah.
He's got 4 schools. He's already committed to Nebraska way back after Thanksgiving last year.
To win high school track in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Holy Lord.
Yeah, 10.3, you're moving. But remember, he also has that speed also transfers over to wearing football pads. If Nebraska can keep him and get him here, that would be one hell of a win for Matt Rule. That might be.
I don't know.
I don't want to go mix sportsbook hyperbole like you do.
Sure. I mean,
the Trey Taylor was big, but to get a kid out of Orlando who is blowing up, and you are going against the big boys, and you got a commitment way back last year,
and you're able to hold on to him.
You're able to hold on to him, and not even get July 1, but to get him to December.
Sure.
That would be a major win for Nebraska because he is legit.
If you wanted to put it pound for pound over Taylor, I'll take that. But if Taylor ends up getting more 2027 recruits through peer recruiting to end up committing to Nebraska, I would say Taylor has a bigger impact. But when you are recruiting a Florida guy and then Florida teams come after you and you're able to hold on to him, that's
and
insane.
It's personal. Nebraska has made him a priority with who they've sent and the attention they've given him.
Yeah.
It becomes personal because Florida State, with 2 guys that have intimate knowledge of Nebraska, 3 guys actually, which have intimate knowledge of Nebraska, are also leading the charge for Florida State recruiting him. And you got to fly.
That's a good point.
I don't know if you've been to Orlando. Have you been to the land of Mickey?
I have not. Like, I haven't been to Orlando. That isn't Disney World.
Okay, let me give you a little geography.
Yeah, give it.
When you're in Orlando, you're not. Well, you're closest to Gainesville, but you got to go up into the Panhandle to. Some like to say Tallahassee. I still think it's the capital of Florida, Tallahassee. You got to fly over there, and then you got to fly over some other places, and then you got to Jason Aldean it and fly over country, and boom, drop right down in Lincoln. So that's why I think it would be very significant if Nebraska gets him on campus and has him play, because I trust some people that have seen him play that cover high school football in Orlando, and they're like, they said that they told me this personally. They're like, I don't know how Nebraska got him.
They're trying. Nebraska's trying to set up a base in Florida. It sends a message if you're able to keep that guy, and it turns heads if you're able to hold on to him. Same thing with getting Trey Taylor. It turned heads in Illinois when the top quarterback and one of the top prospects in that state ends up going to Nebraska. So when you get those big fish in states you haven't been in before, it's no more than just getting that one guy.
All right, when we come back, What is the one thing that Matt Rule should have done in his first 2 years to change maybe a thing or two, outcome of a game? We'll dive into that because it's our Let's Dwell in the Past segment. New segment here on Gary and Matt. Peter is in for Jimmy, who is currently having the urologist
look at him. Up. Yeah.
Well, I don't think you just walk in and go, "Yeah, you got kidney stones."
I don't know. With how Jimmy's limping, it might be. Oh, yeah, there he is.
Jimmy was not appreciative of a response I gave him. I was like, "Can I be the one that comes in and with the laser,
bang bang?" Well, can he bring the stones into the studio?
I'm sure he can.
Can we have show and tell?
I don't know. You can tell him. When you were in studio yesterday, and you were
your invitation to my laugh?
Were doubled over. I'm glad when you doubled over, you didn't hit your head on the counter. Good save.
No, I'm gonna be
Go get him, Jimmy.
You got more codeine?
He did have. Hey, he was a walking Walgreens yesterday.
He was.
We're back with more Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone after this. Everybody, Moose Roofing is the place for you. Pat Moose and the great folks that do roofing the best. They are the MVPs of roofing in Omaha. And if your roof siding, your gutters, they need a little fixer up. Residential roofing, roof repair, and service commercial roofing. Storms. We're on a stretch now with some beautiful weather, so this is time to catch up before the next storm rolls into Omaha. Thing to remember about Moose Roofing, they are an Omaha roofing company that are here before the storm, during the storm, and after the storm. They've been in business nearly 30 years. Over 15,000 roofs have their stamp of approval on it from Western Iowa all the way to Lincoln. They just don't show up and put on the roof. They send their consultants out. When you schedule an inspection, they're going to sit down. They're going to know everything about you personally. They don't come in and go, okay, what do we need to do? They want to know what your story is. That's what Pat does. They give the personal touch with all of his entire crews that are out throughout the Omaha metro area. And then they go to work. They get on your roof. They figure out what is wrong. They look at your siding. They look at your gutters. They go to work. They also work with your insurance company. When the claims process and the insurance company says, "Not today, Mrs. Johnson," Pat Moose will pick up the phone and say, "Oh, yes, today is going to be Mrs. Johnson's day." They do it all for you. Your most valuable asset is your home. Why not protect it and leave it in the hands of Moose Roofing? To schedule an inspection today and to learn more about the MVPs of roofing in Omaha that have a bricks and mortar store, their place is not on wheels. They are right here in Omaha. Go to their website, mooseroofing.com. Everybody get ready for middays, Thanksgiving, Kansas City at Dallas. Then get ready. You can't quit us, man. We're still here. We still out here. Week 3, Monday Night Football. It's going to be a banger of a football weekend for yours truly. I got Nebraska, Michigan. Sunday, fly to New York City, Kansas City, and the New York Football Giants on Monday Night Football, week number 3. It's schedule release day.
Have you been to MetLife? Have you been there?
I've not.
Oh, sweet. That'll be cool.
Thank you. Have you been there?
Take lots of pictures. No, I have not.
You said that like you've been there before.
Yeah, I thought you were going to give me like a tip.
Yeah. I thought you were like,
traffic is even worse at MetLife compared to Arrowhead.
Be careful out there, Gary. There's currently a pileup on the turnpike.
You know, you're going to be disappointed because Meadowlands Arena does not exist anymore. Okay, instead, it's the horse race track has become a gigantic casino and shopping mall.
I thought Peter was going to be like, hey, make sure you take the train like at this time.
So what you're going to do is...
Yeah, like I thought we were going to get a pretty extensive breakdown on like the ins and outs of MetLife and like a great Peterman story.
But the schedule is starting to trickle out. They'll announce it later tonight. I would think, I mean, the Giants get a primetime game. What would you say are the 5 lowest teams in the NFL when it comes to primetime games?
Jacksonville.
The Colts will be one.
Well, are we talking
now?
Are we talking like is London a primetime game?
No. Well,
let's consider London a primetime.
Okay.
Now Travis Hunter may change it.
Okay.
There may be some people who want to watch Travis Hunter.
That's a good point. And I don't know if Cam Ward is necessarily going to move the needle. Like I would probably say Tennessee might be in there. Carolina is going to be in there. I know Shador is on the Browns now, and he is a guy who moves the needle, but there is the uncertainty if he's even going to play. So I don't think they'll put Cleveland in a lot of primetime games. Trying to go down the list here.
I think the Saints, you can add that.
The Saints is a good one. And... No, Atlanta will get like 1 or 2, but I think Atlanta would be like in the middle to back of the pack.
I think the Giants and the Jets will not have a ton of primetime games.
Giants, Jets, Cleveland, Tennessee, Carolina would be my 5. I don't know. Here's one. Does Arizona get a lot of run? I just feel like even when
Arizona might be better than
Arizona seems to be a popular candidate whenever they have those doubleheader Monday night games for a late slot. I think they've gotten
Peter.
A few of those.
There's just some teams that naturally just don't regardless of whether or not they're good. They just don't get it, and that's just the markets, right? I feel like Arizona. I don't see them a ton on primetime for whatever reason. I feel like Seattle is on a ton of primetime games, especially considering the fact that they're have been very good, but not great over the last couple of years. But I think you're right. Jets and Giants. But I don't know, Jackson Dart. What happens? What happens if Jackson Dart comes onto the scene and looks really, really good in that Brian Dable offense and they
beats out Russell Wilson?
And they maybe look, they have an awesome defensive line. I worry about the secondary, but that D line I feel like is so dominant that it could spark that defense. And then look at the weapons they got. Malik Neighbors is a really, really good wide receiver. Tyrone Tracy came on at the end of last season. I mean, look, Dable loves Dart. And the fact that Dable loves Dart so much just convinces me that Dart could be a good quarterback.
So you think Jackson Dart will be the starter in New York?
I think that Russell Wilson could be on a shorter leash if with how and looking at the offseason, I love those little into the draft, those you get the behind the scenes of the draft. Brian Dable loved Jackson Dart. And so the fact that if Jackson Dart's able to learn his playbook is, as quickly as maybe Dable thinks he's going to be able to, and Russell Wilson plays like the Russell Wilson that ended last season, I do think Jackson Dart could potentially be starting sooner than you think in New York. But I don't think they'll get any initial primetime games.
So it's trickling out all day, and then it'll be announced tonight, and all the team videos will be out, and it'll be really, really cool. And then we'll go, when do we get our college football games? All right, coming up in an hour, Marty Cordero will join us. We didn't really mention this on Monday with Derek Carr's retiring.
Yeah.
That Derek Carr played in Memorial Stadium?
Fresno State.
Yep, 2011. That's the Amir Abdullah breakout game where he went and said, you know what? I think we're going to have a kickoff return of 100 yards. And people went, who is this guy? But Derek Carr was 20 of 41, 254, 0 picks in the game that Nebraska won at Memorial Stadium in 2011, 42-29 with a monster fourth quarter that included Taylor Martinez just taking over. Rex Burkhead had an okay game, but that will always be the Amir breakout game where you went, hello. When he goes 100 and hits his head on the goalpost.
Pretty damn good NFL quarterbacks in Memorial Stadium over the last decade.
Who has?
There have been pretty good NFL quarterbacks in Memorial Stadium over the last, I would say, probably decade. I mean, Derek Carr. Well, Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, that's true.
J.J. McCarthy could be.
Starters in the NFL.
All starters.
When you play in the Big Ten and you play big teams, they usually bring big quarterbacks.
That's not a hot take. Yeah. I mean. This is my fault.
All right. So the discourse about Scott Frost the other day, which just was.
Hey, I'm glad. Look, let's put our hands up here. You and I did not really
robbed.
We are not in trouble. Okay, for the people who got really, really mad about it, me and you did not really dive into it, other than what the hell happened. Okay, we didn't really give an opinion. We just gave a discourse. Okay, so we are not a part of. For the people who are mad, we're not a part of pushing this wagon along.
How's the friend of the show? How's Caleb Henry doing? He seemed to put the boxing gloves on and go Bud Crawford against the Canelo Alvarez's of the Husker Twitter world.
I haven't really talked to Caleb since then. We haven't really had a chit chat.
But you're right. It's not a topic that we've
no,
rehashed.
neither am I.
But here's my. I know I'm a damn hypocrite here. You have to learn from the past so you don't repeat the same mistakes, and you cannot tell the story of Nebraska football either from the mid-90s or from 18 to 22 without Scott Frost. That's just the thing it is. But I was thinking, and then there were some things that were mentioned, just rehash stuff about why it didn't work out for Scott. So I said, let's do this. Let's talk about coaches if they could change one thing about their tenure at Nebraska. Might not mean they're still here.
Yeah.
Because, things change. Life gets in the way. But it may have had a better ending or a better path.
I do think that none of the things that I'm going to say would cause these coaches to still be here, still coaching. Uh-huh. But I do think that some of these things that we'll talk about might have pushed them one more year past when they got let go.
All right, change one thing of Bo Pelini's tenure at Nebraska that lasted 7 years and is celebrated every September 4th.
I would flip the score of the 2012 Big Ten championship game. So I would have, as opposed to Nebraska getting stomped by Wisconsin, I would have Nebraska stomp Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game. And I think it's important that I emphasize the switching of the scores, because Wisconsin got to that championship game because of, probations and people getting, they were third in their conference when they got there. So
put some respect on Kurt Phillips getting his team to the Big Ten championship
and winning it. But I think if Bo goes out there and that team ends up just absolutely killing Wisconsin, they win the Big Ten championship. You get your first Big Ten championship since 1990, or your first conference championship since 1999. You overcome kind of no one's ever going to get over 2009 and what happened there, but at least you're hey, at least we have 2012. Mm-hmm. And then, that losing that game in that manner definitely put more pressure heading into 2013. And so if you're able to have that Big Ten championship on your resume, on your record, and you don't feed into the stigma that was, man, you never know what you're going to get in big games with Bo's teams. If you're able to just crush Wisconsin, I do think that might buy Bo another year, maybe, or maybe look, Taylor Martinez getting hurt in 2013 is going to happen anyway. And so I don't think Taylor doesn't get hurt if you win that game,
do you think if that happens, that Bo would have bounced? Ooh. I think he would have bounced.
You think he would have bounced?
I think he would have bounced.
But
the vibe would have been entirely different. I'm telling you that.
Just because that was a stigma, right? Like in big games, they're not going to win. If you just
Absolutely.
win that big game, you kind of get rid of that,
See,
right? But Bo was Bo, and Bo was always going to be Bo, and that he was going to be who he was as a human. And I think eventually that leads to him.
Mhm.
What happens, regardless of that, just because that's Bo Pelini. But that game, you flip that'd be big.
See, I would have, not necessarily a game, but that was a horrible experience that night in Indianapolis, so I'm all there with you. I would have changed. I would not have had Jeff Jamrog as my buffer between the athletic director and the football program. I love Coach Jamrog. I think he was put in a position where he couldn't shield everything from Bo, and Bo got too caught up in all the other stuff that was going on that was not football related. And I don't think Bo, because people are like, psh, psh, didn't have enough of a voice when T.O. was going to step down as athletic director, and did not have, because he was not kept abreast of the Eichhorst path that they were going down to hire him, which when Sean Eichhorst showed up, it was the writing on the wall for Bo. So if he could have had a louder voice or been more adult-ish when it comes to dealing with the power chair and the next floor down, I think that could have changed a little bit. But as you just mentioned, Bo was Bo. Now, for Mike Riley, this also goes to standing up to the athletic director. And people forget that Mike Riley tenure in Nebraska was better than Scott Frost.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if
they won 9 games. They went 9-3.
They went to a bowl game.
Yeah.
Not once, but twice. Mike Riley opened the door for trouble. And again, why was he here anyhow?
Sure.
But that's neither here nor there. It's past. We got to learn from the past. If when he was informed that Bob Diaco was going to be his defensive coordinator, and he was told with Mark Banker out on the road recruiting in January of 17, you need to call your friend and say you are done because Bob Diaco is on his way to Lincoln and he's going to be your defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And you go, okay. And that opened up the door to more involvement by the athletic director who brought in Billy Devaney, and it just was not good. And Diaco was bizarre.
Yeah.
And the whole 17 season from that jump in January got off the rails. If Mike Riley, and this is just not his personality, if he would have stood up to Eichhorst and said, no, you control the purse strings, I control the football program, maybe 17 would have been different, but I don't know how much longer Nebraska would have gone with Mike Riley. His personality, he got walked on a little bit.
I don't think, like, Riley is the one where, because we're going to go through Rule and Bo and Scott. Riley's the one where I don't think if you change anything, a lot different happens, right? Like, I think what happens with Mike Riley, regardless of what result or what coach that you change. I would just change the Wisconsin game in 2016, them losing that tough one, 23-17, then followed up by, I don't know if the game against Ohio State the next week is any different, but I would just change, if they're able to win that game as the number 7 team in the country, build that momentum heading in Ohio State, I think that'd be different. But
all right, the latest, most popular era.
I would have Scott Frost go into the huddle at Michigan State in 2021 and say, hey, we are punting this ball left. We are punting the ball in this direction. We saw it on tape. We don't care that they might pretend that they're going to receive this ball on the right. The ball is going to the left. Run to the left. Tackle the guy. You beat Michigan State in that game, and even after having that terrible week 1 against Illinois, you build momentum heading into Michigan. People are more hyped going into that Michigan game. Maybe that extra bit of energy is enough to put you over the hump against Michigan, and then all of a sudden, you're a one-loss team. You're probably ranked. You're like on top of the world when you head into Minnesota and Purdue. That game, I feel like was kind of the beginning of the end. If you just tell them, hey, we're punting the ball left, run left. This offense hasn't been able to get one first down against us the entire second half. Go and tackle them. Go and get them. That's what I would say.
Now, I don't have a game, but I have a pandemic.
See, yeah.
So this is probably not enough attention and this isn't an excuse, because at the end of the day, you got to have the tools in the toolbox to run a Fortune 500 company, which is Nebraska football. if there is no COVID year, if you could eliminate COVID, which would
Yeah.
have changed everything in our lives, I don't care if you're a GBR or
Sure.
if you're just, normal Jane and Joe. Nebraska football did not handle the transition from the shutdown through COVID very well. I think there was a lot of anger. There was a lot of uncertainty. There were people that wanted to know what was going on, did things that they would normally do. I think also you got to remember, you had a fairly good recruiting class going into the 20 season.
Yeah.
And you had guys that arrived, and then the confusion, and there was the Florida core.
Are we going to
There
play?
were some dudes that I think if their career would have worked out at Nebraska, because some of them just kind of disappeared,
Mhm.
but I think Nebraska was a good fit for them. They show up, and it's just confusion. There's loneliness. There's nobody on campus. You can't interact.
Mm-mm.
And then we had other things going on that were not a pandemic. We had George Floyd. We had people in the
Yeah.
streets. We had people protesting. We had a lot of young people that were expressing opinions and having a voice that they had not had so much in the past. And I think players wanted the head football coach and other people that were adults in that football program to stand with them, to walk from Memorial Stadium to the Capitol, to do those things
Mhm.
that meant so much to the young people that were in the football program that year. And, there was a lot of politics that were shared about you're a Trumper, you're not a Trumper. I just think there were a lot of butting of heads, and there weren't as many adults in the room
Sure.
that could say, hey, there's a lot of uncertainty, but we're going to get through this, but we have to stick together. And if you eliminate that year, maybe what that does moving forward in terms of the relationship, but maybe the way that was handled was just a microcosm of how Nebraska football was handled with Scott from his administration
Mhm.
that he was working with that were football office administrators to the rest of the program. That if you took away COVID, what that would have done. Again, he didn't have the tools in the toolbox to sustain, but maybe the talent that he accumulated, they would have had some type of momentum and be able to win a couple of more football games.
And it's a lost season. I mean, we say he was the coach for 5 seasons. They played 8 games, right?
Yeah.
And just the whole time of like, are we going to play? Are we not going to play? It's a great point.
And then the current tenure. If I had to change one thing, is I think I think Matt Rule was too nice at the beginning. I think Trev probably indicated now, hey, we don't fleece the roster. We're done with sending guys to medical retirement. You have a lot of good guys in the program. We don't just come in and clean house, coach. So that's what we don't do. And I wonder if Rule, because and this is probably Rule's personality, he listened to a lot of players that had eligibility to return that were like, Coach, I'm all in. I'm all for you. I just want to win. I want to be GBRs. And Rule said, you know what? You stick with us for at least 2 years. I'm going to get you to a bowl game, which you haven't been to.
Sure.
I wonder if he's a little bit more businesslike and has a chance to flip the roster when he first got here. Now, he didn't have a connection to coming from a college.
No.
But he had connections. If that would have changed a little bit of the first year in terms of the talent they had on the field and some of the issues they had that lingered from the past.
He didn't build this roster the way that he built Temple and Baylor in terms of he played young guys at Baylor. He played young guys at Temple.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do that here, which is why maybe you might think they're a step behind in terms of young guy development because they invested so much in the older guys, especially on the defensive end. Just don't bring in Jeff Sims. Like, I don't know if, like, where we're at this point with, like, I think Dylan Raiola still comes in. I still think all of everything that happens up to this point happens. But I just think that investing so much in Jeff Sims, saying that he's an NFL guy, saying that, oh, this is our prospect, this is our dude, and then immediately he doesn't even end up making it to the 4th game of the year. He lost a lot of trust in just the fan base very, very quickly in terms of how he evaluates and develops when the very first guy that he brought in, that he went to bat for, just completely failed. It's not so much from a wins and football perspective, but just from an outlook and evaluation and trust perspective. What he invested in Sims, I would just redo that. I just wouldn't do that.
I think Jeff Sims might be the most valuable player of 2025.
Well, how?
Jeff Sims might be the best thing that ever happened to Matt Rule.
Why? Because of his failure?
They went all in, and they made a mistake. They learned from their mistake, or at least you hope they did. They've given you a little bit of cases of who they've pursued and who they haven't pursued, but they went all in on Jeff Sims. What if Jeff Sims is what they thought he was going to be, and he has success? Dylan doesn't come here because Dylan came here to be a starter in year number 1, and so Jeff Sims would have had another year. He would have been your starter. Dylan probably sticks with his commitment at Georgia, and you're working on year 2 of Jeff Sims, and you don't have a quarterback who has completely changed the vibe of what 2025 could be.
But I'm not saying, Jeff Sims has a great season and ends up being successful.
Mm-hmm.
I just wouldn't have brought him in.
You're doing it for more of the he lost trust with the fans.
Yes. Yeah. I just wouldn't have brought him in to begin with. I mean, the guy played 33 games at Georgia Tech. You kind of knew what he had, right? Like,
well, some would say, kind of along the lines of what you're mentioning, Casey Thompson would have been better as a retainer than bringing Jeff Sims in. They made it's every coaching staff that comes in, maybe they get one mulligan, right?
Yes.
Because everybody wants their quarterback. Look at Frost and Verduzco went to California right away to bring Adrian in.
Yeah.
So everybody wants their quarterback in their initial season, if they can. And I think that's what they were told, and that's what they went with. But there's the pros, absolutely the pros and cons of the Jeff Sims experiment that went south.
I just think that.
But do you learn from it?
I think they have learned from it.
Thing.
And I think that, look, the fact that they got Dylan, right, it recuses you from any of the sins that you had before that. But I just think from a just pure evaluation perspective, and you're supposed to be this developmental guy. You're supposed to be this, I know the NFL mind. I know what the prospects are looking for. This guy is it. Mm-hmm. And then he doesn't even, he's just bad. He's just straight up bad. It just was not. And it's just been the worst look for this program so far.
All right. So every Wednesday on the show, leading up to the start of the season, we will dwell on the past. Coming up next Wednesday, we'll talk about T.O.'s major flaws. That'll be a Wednesday segment. Hope you enjoyed it. Random Mike, stay right there.
I can't wait for the Devaney Wednesday.
Oh, yes. I wish I would have been here for Devaney.
The glory days music, Peter. Very good job.
Some opposing fan bases would say this is absolutely the glory days of Nebraska football.
Yeah.
Marty Cordero, John Walker, and Brandon Vogel all slated to stop by on a Wednesday edition of Gary and Matt with Peter in for Jimmy on 1620 The Zone. All right, here is Random Mike on the Prairie Flower Casino Hotline. Good morning, Mike.
I got to tell you, I do enjoy your buddy from Florida when he calls.
Dave's a great dude. He makes it back once every summer before football, so maybe we'll get him in studio.
And, talking about Mark Grace, has he gotten any consideration for the Hall of Fame?
I can look. I can do research.
I don't think so. Because he, his last year was 03, so he'd be onto the Veterans Committee. Yeah, I don't think he has gotten much run.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The only guy leading the decade in doubles was Longoria the other guy?
Yeah, that was the other guy they were talking about. Mark Grace was only on the ballot for 1 year. He got 4.1% of the vote.
But if you're a Cub fan, he's got to be one of your favorites.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, I mean, you had him, and you go from Sandberg to Grace in terms of guys that you love. Yeah. But I did not love that he got to win a World Series with the Diamondbacks, but, that's neither here nor there.
And who would have dreamed that he would make international news going to that country club prison in Arizona for multiple drunk driving?
Yeah,
Never would have thought that.
Yeah, he had, you know what, he's spoken about that. He's kind of out of the spotlight nowadays. He had some demons that he had to work through, and baseball was his outlet. And, when he wasn't on the field, like he struggled. But I do know, because the Marquee Sports Network did a thing last year about him, that he's in a better spot these days. He's not, I don't think he's around baseball as much as he used to be, whether it be wearing a uniform or as a broadcaster.
I think, I saw him. I think he's still doing media in Arizona. Maybe not.
He might do a Diamondback game periodically.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but look, if the Cubs had more Mark Graces, they win a World Series 20 years earlier.
Absolutely.
Well,
fantastic.
If they had more Woods and Pryors.
If they had more good players.
They had Lee Smith.
Oh, can you imagine Santo on those teams?
They would not have had Leon Durham butcher a ground ball in '84 at Jack Murphy.
How about we not trade Lou Brock?
Wow, what are we dwelling more on the past, the Cubs or the Huskers?
But Grace to me is what baseball. You don't have to be a great. He's not big, strong, fast, but boy, the eye-hand coordination and just a great baseball player.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
and Longoria also. But you were talking about Pelini. What? And I talked to some former players. Players love Pelini maybe more than any coach Nebraska's had. I mean, your buddy Jay Moore. If you heard him talk about Pelini, it's amazing. And even guys that real religious dudes, that would never talk like him. You learn some new words listening to Pelini. Ron Brown, how loyal how much he cared for Pelini. There's something about Pelini. Yet, when his brother left, that seemed to really affect. Let me tell you this: when we got in the Big Ten, the big dudes, the big dogs in the conference were Ohio State and Wisconsin. And how did Pelini do against those two teams away from Lincoln? Okay, and that's pretty significant. And if you look at the average score of the games when we played Ohio State and Michigan and Wisconsin away from Lincoln, we got blown out. It was like 50-something to 20-something. I mean, who would have dreamed that?
Carl was a good foil for Bo. I think you make a good observation about when Carl left. I think Bo kind of took over a little bit more on that side of the ball and did not. He let Carl do a lot. I think when Papuchis got elevated, he didn't let Papuchis do as much. And so you'd get screaming matches in the middle of a game where Melvin Gordon is setting a record about switching a defense. I mean, there's things along the way, but you're absolutely right. Bo would go to bat for guys that played for him, that were loyal to him, that gave their effort, that were wearing the N, were wearing the pads. It just, if you were not, you were probably, Bo thought you were against him, period, stop. But yeah, the players love him. And I think even now today, some players realize that Bo was really good for their career in terms of the way that he talked to him, he treated him. Just he didn't get over the hump. Didn't win enough important games.
Yeah, and I don't care who you are. If you're embarrassing yourself with your behavior in games, which he did.
Mhm.
You're in a got to go situation.
Yeah.
And you're embarrassing yourself in how you do in big games, you're not going to survive. I don't care who you are.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
It's a great point.
Mike, thanks for the phone call. Have a great weekend. Have yourself a Mark Grace on Jim Rome Slump Buster.
Just a really solid professional weekend. Have a Mark Grace weekend.
Marty Cordero, who is semi-professional. He'll join us coming up in the next hour. When will Jack Caglione hit a dong to Gary and Matland in right field on the berm?
Is that the first question to Marty? When's he coming? When's he going to be here?
I'm sure he's been asked that. How was last night? They won. Good vibe out at the ballpark last night?
Yeah, they did. They performed well.
Yeah.
It was had Cam Devaney grand slam.
Look
And
at
Jan
that.
was loud in there the whole night. He was wham bam camming it and then a grand slam.
Wham bam camming it. That is the way to get through life and this show, which we're back with more after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, 8:08, Bob on the clock on a Wednesday of Gary and Matt with Peter.
Peterman.
Where the Knicks,
Howdy.
the T-Wolves, and the Thunder, if they all advance to the conference finals, we'll have 4 teams in the conference finals. That's how it works.
That free throw disparity in that New York Knicks Indiana Pacers series is going to be absolutely incredible.
It was a banger last year. Hell, it led to a wrestling match between Brunson and Halliburton.
It was all in the script.
That resurfaced, and I had totally forgotten about that.
How could you forget about it?
It made me laugh so
How could you
hard.
forget? That was such a massive
It was
moment in
in
wrestling
the
history.
script.
So if those 3 join the Pacers, we'll have 4 teams. Nobody's won a title since '79, and only one has made a finals appearance since 2000. That could happen. We could have some new blood in the NBA finals.
What ideal matchup? Timberwolves Knicks, probably. If you're the NBA,
Hey, you watch
or do you? Yeah.
Or the Nuggets. What do we do? Hey, I know he's not a normal human being. Some of the things he does not make any sense. And last night he broke out of a slump.
Yeah.
And Mr. Jokic, what happened there last night is Denver had the better player. Oklahoma City had the better team.
Yes.
And now Oklahoma City is up 3-2 going back to Denver. But the most important player probably on Denver is Jamal Murray. If you cut off the head of the snake, even if Jokic goes for like he does, I think you have a chance to beat Denver, but don't count out the Nuggets. That's been a fun series. I've been enjoying some Denver, Oklahoma City basketball.
It's been a fun series, but I mean, there have been 2 kind of crazier buzzer beaters that have gone the way of the Denver Nuggets, where you could argue this could already be over for the Thunders if some quite incredible plays, both made by Aaron Gordon, don't happen. Shout out Woody Page, though. He was saying yesterday that the series was over.
Whoa.
That he was absolutely down in the dumps.
Shout out Woody Page.
Man, I'm soaking in all the last around
Woody
the horn.
Page.
Whoa!
Screw Woody Page.
Why is that?
Past history.
Okay, fair enough. Didn't know. I've been watching a lot of Round the Horn. He was going off on a tyrant yesterday.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Take that column and shove it up your ass.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from 1994.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Just leave it out there.
Yep.
Alan says nobody hates those small market teams like the NBA. They have to be the biggest Knicks fans. That is correct. Go New York, go New York, go.
No,
go
stop,
New York, go New York, go. Hey, we are the Knicks. We are the blue and orange. And you know what? Our biggest victory in the last 25 years was in game 4 of round number 2. We are the Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go. Go New York, go New York, go. Look at that. Charlemagne is sitting Charlemagne is sitting on the baseline, and he's got Mrs. Jenner with him. And she's got the leather pants on, and then her sister shows up, and she's dressed the same exact way. We got all the stars. Stars are out. We are NBA's team. Go New York. Go New York. Halliburton, take that. Go New York. Go New York. Go. We got Tibbs. You got Carlisle. Go New York. Go New York. Go.
Stop it. First off, Timothy Chalamet.
I do like seeing Bernard King, though. Bernard King was a baller and then had that terrible knee injury. All right, continue.
Timothy Chalamet is living my dream life.
Because of he's with Kylie
Jenner. He's a good-looking dude. He's an actor. He's super famous. He's very rich. He's a massive basketball fan. He gets to hang out with an absolute beautiful girlfriend who, have you seen the memes from them? Like the way that she looks at him when he's like rooting for like the Knicks.
I love that.
It's awesome. It's incredible. I want that.
Hey,
she gets it.
Hey, Mr. App Guy.
I am not Mr. App Guy.
As a gentleman and a scholar,
yeah.
When you are in your sports world and you're standing in front of your TV and your significant other, maybe she's not a sports fan, and that's perfectly fine. They don't get it, but they get it because that brings you enjoyment, it brings you love, and it brings you pain, and they're there to support you. I'm okay with that.
I love it. I think it shows they have a great relationship.
And it can go the other way as well.
When you can bring your girlfriend to a playoff game, that's how you know.
Yeah.
Because you're not afraid to be crazy around her. You're not afraid to be a nutcase around her. The fact, you bring your girlfriend, when we play Kent State or when we play Houston Christian, it's like, it's whatever. Hey, we're playing Bowling Green. Nobody cares. But when you bring them to a playoff game, that's how you know you're locked in.
Yeah. That's a great point. And I should have learned that in 2001 because the person that I was dating at the time, they wanted to go to the Rose Bowl. And I'm like, I'm working.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
She goes, can I go to the Rose Bowl with you? And I said, no. I go, it's the national championship. I got to be focused. I'm working.
Exactly.
I'm doing shows. I'm on the broadcast. So
yeah, I bet that floated over like a lead balloon.
Yeah, you know what? I got back from Pasadena, and about 3 weeks later, that relationship went out the window.
Really? It was 3 weeks later?
The way of the dodo.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Whoa.
There were some things that were building up.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the Rose Bowl was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Maybe that guy she met during a Nebraska
There you
game
go.
may have.
Sorry. We're rehashing too many old memories.
That's
for
okay.
you.
They're very happy they're married now and have multiple kids.
Oh,
Now,
at least it worked out.
if Jordan wants to accompany Bill to an away game and
Oh,
he says no,
Peter,
You gotta.
we're going to let that ride.
Yeah.
Let Happer talk about Jordan.
We spent our time with the runner up of Miss
hey,
Maine. We've given her a lot of run.
We don't play in the Frost world or the Jordan Hudson world. All right.
leave it.
It'd be wild if they intersected, but for now they don't.
What if?
But now that you brought her name up, I do have a question. Because I think it's very rare that we know the name of the wives or the girlfriends of our coach.
Oh,
Unless-
no way.
Unless they are
Regularly brought up.
like for example, like Greg McDermott's wife. We know her name because of her battle with cancer and how big the pink out is. But other than that, Mac isn't holding court with John Walker going, hey, let me tell you about my wife. We really should not. Like, people know that Matt Rule's wife is Julie.
Yes.
Okay. And she is a business owner in Lincoln, but it's not like she's,
She's not affecting wins and losses.
like when the doors of the tunnel walk open, it's not Matt Rule and Julie Rule walking onto the field. Okay.
No.
And then they kiss and then they part ways.
But-
She goes up to the suite. He goes to the sidelines. But speaking of that, where do you think that Jordan Hudson will sit during games this fall in Chapel Hill?
at her very nice Nantucket home.
Oh, you have them breaking up?
I just have her not being in the spotlight. I just think that she's gotten.
She apparently had Dancing with the Stars on her plate. You're saying that she will all of a sudden go, nah.
I think we're trending.
Nah,
I think
I'm
we're
good.
the
I
closest
think-
suite to midfield.
I think where we're trending, she'll watch more games from her nice Nantucket home than
Okay.
she will from. Will she? Yes, she will be at a game or two. But I do think there will be, especially if they don't start off well to begin the year, and they're not playing well and they're not winning. I don't know how many games that they're really going to be putting Jordan up in, because the camera's going to be on her. They're not going to be able, and too, if they tell ESPN, hey, don't put the camera on her, then that's going to, Pablo Torre is going to find out and tell everybody about it. And then there'll be even more bad press. See, Peter, now you have me talking about
I'm
Jordan
sorry,
Hudson.
I shouldn't have said it.
And I'm talking about camera shots with Jordan Hudson.
All right, Brent Musburger. Jeremy tweets in here, Sharp 1620.
I heard that.
I first started so many different ways there, didn't
Yeah, it did.
Cha-ching. I first started seeing my
Red-blooded
now wife
Americans.
during the 16 Major League Baseball playoffs. My refusal to hang out with her when the Cubs were on TV because I didn't want her to see me cry was almost a deal breaker.
Whoa.
But now he says she totally gets it.
Okay.
Oh, keep her. Good job, Jeremy.
Lord.
See,
Yeah. That is my fear,
That's
though.
one thing you got to get over is like when you have the fandom and maybe you have a significant other that did not grow up in a sports household. So
Well-
maybe her father or her brothers were not all into sports, and all of a sudden she's dating someone that kind of is your life.
This happened. My brother brought home his now wife,
Mhm.
to the house for the very first time. This was in 2019 during a Bears-Packers game. And they were out in the kitchen, and Dad and I were watching the game in the family room. And there was a lot of yelling and screaming, and she never came from a sport household.
Mhm.
The Bears end up losing. It eliminates them from the playoffs. And I flipped out, and she was taken aback. She was like, what just happened? Why is there yelling? Why is there screaming? Why did Matt break a broom in the backyard? Like it was not good. So much so that this year, when the Bears lost on Thanksgiving, she is now married. At this point, she's now married to my brother. When the Bears lost on Thanksgiving, her brother texted her and said, hey, fair warning, the Bears lost today. Matt's not going to be happy. So that's it. It didn't happen to I haven't had a girlfriend for that to happen to, but it happened to my brother.
John says into the Equitable Bank inbox, Matt enjoys Woody Page, question mark. I hope he enjoyed
I
his
enjoy
time
Around
on
the
the show.
Horn. I was just making a joke. I didn't know.
wish him well wherever he ends up, but if he likes that asshat Page, he doesn't belong here.
I was going to make a joke about him and then like insult him a little bit, and then you beat me to it.
No, I'm
terrible take yesterday.
Maybe he's a little bit different, but I remember too much of the 90s. Oh, wait a minute. I got to go out and plug in my tractor, my Tesla tractor. When we come back, somebody got paid yesterday in the Big Ten, but why can't people trust him with his money or his football program? And as we go to break, another Baseball America projected field of 64 is out. Creighton, which beat Omaha last night 19-3. We honored Ed.
Yeah, I saw
They
that.
had a really nice ceremony. Darren Ruff, who played for Ed, of course, West Side, Creighton, and into the major leagues as an assistant with Evan Porter. And so Evan, Darren, and Ed were all together in a photo. It was really cool.
Very classy.
Said some nice stuff over the PA. So it was cool that they honored Ed last night in his last game potentially in the state of Nebraska. But Creighton goes into their final weekend with a chance to win the regular season of the Big East. In Baseball America, kind of like D1 baseball, they're on the next 4 out list.
So are they projecting UConn to win the Big East then?
Yes.
And is UConn what, a 3 or 4 seed in that?
They are a 3
Okay.
seed going to T-Town.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk Brett Bielema, shall we?
Why not?
When we come back. Marty Cordero still within the hour of Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. DJ Snake on
DJ
a
Snake.
Wednesday.
Who?
That's who does this song, DJ Snake.
Is he like a? So this happened with Bad.
He's a collaborator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Lil Jon
Yeah,
and him
he's-
have a song.
Yeah.
This happened with Bad Bunny.
He is one. You'll recognize it. Turned down for what?
Oh, that's him.
Yes.
See, I'm learning who Benny Blanco is, and how
Yeah.
Benny Blanco is like apparently made all of the great songs that I loved growing up, and apparently he's also dating my childhood crush growing up. So shout out Benny Blanco.
Not just dating.
Selena.
Engaged.
They're engaged. Selena Gomez
That
and
was
Benny
your
Blanco.
childhood crush.
Wizards of Waverly Place, man.
Good call.
Everything's not what it seems.
I
That
think
is.
they made another. Did
I
they-
didn't watch the spinoff.
Yeah, I haven't. Seen
I didn't
it.
watch it. I
haven't
don't.
seen it.
You know
is
what?
this reality TV?
No.
Okay.
This was Disney Channel.
This was our prime.
This was our
childhood.
prime childhood. Hey,
When you're in your 30s, you're not. When you don't have kids, you're not allowed to watch the
Yeah.
Disney Channel.
42 on my dial. We'll never forget it. If you went to 51, it was Disney XD. Shout out Kick Patowski.
Child.
Oh, of course.
Everybody knows about Kick Patowski.
Oh, of course.
Great left fielder. Has a son that plays for Creighton right now. Skylar
Patowski.
Kawasaki, something like that.
Isn't that a
Why do we have? God dang it!
What is okay? It's happening to you too, right?
We have a lot of ants.
We
that are in the
do.
studio.
Oh, okay.
Is this
I
like-
thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
There was one on me earlier.
Does this happen every year?
I don't think so. They're not sugar
We need
ants.
to get those little wall plugins.
Well,
that
I have
keep the
a
ants out.
sugar-free Monster. So,
and I have a sugar-free Red Bull. So ants.
man, look at us being healthy.
I don't know. Maybe it's a foreshadowing of what's going to happen tonight at the Target Center. All right, continue on. Sorry, I
That was a good one.
I messed with your
He's a dog.
you two being young guys looking at older girls on Disney.
What? No,
Oh,
we're
that-
just
okay.
no. What? No, we're just talking about what we used to watch growing up. I don't do spin-offs though. Like any of those spin-off shows.
Okay.
They're doing a Creed spin-off though, like a Creed spin-off TV show. I
Well,
don't
they're
know.
Oh, I
They're
did
also
not know
doing
this.
it's Peacock in the fall. They're doing a spin-off of The Office called The
Oh
Paper.
yes.
What?
You know what? Hey,
I just don't like
Suits
that.
LA already went.
Yeah, one season that guy came.
Well,
It got canned?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It
it's
was.
done.
It was.
Oof.
It was awful. I wanted to like it because I love Suits. It was awful.
What's the show?
Was Stephen Amell in that? Is that? Yeah, that stinks. 'cause
So,
he's entertaining.
Suits is about lawyers, but then there was also a popular show about investors with a character called Axelrod. You ever watch that?
Don't believe so.
It's also like along with Suits, it always pops up on my YouTube shorts about this
Okay.
like investor based TV show where it's like they're kind of like a firm. There's probably someone in the YouTube chat.
Billions.
Billions.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Have you seen that?
I've heard of
It's on
it.
the list, but it is a lot of people rave about it.
Is that the one-
Very,
Yeah.
Is
very
that the one
raved
that
about.
Paul Giamatti's in? Or is that? am
I do not know.
I might totally be off.
Yeah,
oh yeah,
Bill-
Paul Giamatti's in it.
Billions is a show because we have to be better in the friend circle of recommending movies and shows to our friends.
We do.
Because I think you need to be moved out of the circle if you recommend a bad show.
Couldn't agree more.
to somebody. I think we need to be better at that. But if you recommend a good show, and Billions is one of those that has been recommended by people that are in my circle, I'll like, okay.
Do you have
I
a
trust
guy?
him.
Do you have a guy that you're like, hey, this guy know like when he gives me a TV rec,
Yeah.
I know it's going to be a banger.
Yeah, he's a stay-at-home dad.
Oh, well, makes sense.
So he gets to watch a lot of those TVs.
good for him.
Those TV shows. Coming up in a little bit is Marty Cordero. Yesterday in the Big Ten, there was a little bit of news.
Double news.
Yeah. All of a sudden in Champaign, they have some money. That farmland that is just outside the football stadium and the basketball arena must be paying off because they gave 6-year extensions to Brett Bielema and Brad Underwood.
Well, it is dead week, so I think Cam's and Red Lion and Joe's probably gave a little bit of their money to the athletic department.
But why don't people? So just
Go
you know,
ahead.
you know what this year could be like in Champaign?
They could be great.
They have the makings of being the Indiana of 2024 because they have the schedule. They have one of the easiest schedules in the Big Ten. They have a returning quarterback. Okay, they return all 5 offensive linemen. They return their entire secondary.
I agree. I
They've
just
gotta-
I
they
just
gotta
dislike
find some
the whole
defensive linemen.
I just like the whole term the
They-
Indiana of next year.
Well, until somebody becomes the new Indiana, we're always going to say that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
They won 10 football games last year, but
They
why
did.
don't people trust a guy that has won 28 in his first 4 years at a place that has very low expectations?
Because PTSD from Arkansas.
Okay.
I just think it's that. I just think when you fail like that,
Mhm.
that publicly, and especially how he left Wisconsin, there are just going to be people who always remember that and always hang on to that. And I just think in general, too, people don't respect Illinois football because it
Yeah.
was before, he got there, and they don't look at them as a true power. And then if you want to be a real skeptic, it's like, well, it's not like he's won, it's not like he's made a college football playoff. He's only, the most games he's won is 10, and he's only done it once. Like, you can be a hater. And I think his past experiences in Arkansas make people do that.
I'm a fan. I know people like to, remember the days of him being shirtless or how in the hell he ever got his wife. They met in a casino, by the way, in Vegas.
There is hope.
Or the fact that he is a gigantic man that
He's a big
stiff-armed
guy.
us at the Big Ten Media Days 2 years ago.
Or he got Shane Beamer really, really, really mad.
But so let me and I think what you said about Arkansas, you have to wash your mouth, because the Arkansas situation with the athletic director there, it got sideways. Yeah, could he have done better leaving Wisconsin?
Sure.
But maybe he knew something was up to get out of Wisconsin. The man knows how to win in the Big Ten.
Period.
Okay, he knows how to win in the Big Ten. He is 55-37 in his career in the Big Ten, and he's gotten to 500 at a place that has very low expectations.
Yeah.
They kind of stay out of the spotlight. People have not really won consistently there since John Makovic.
Yeah.
So I think he is the ideal coach for that program. And so he gets paid, and they may have a big year, and they're the one team that people go, well, if there's going to be a team that, because it happens every year, that starts in maybe the preseason top 10 but finishes unranked, I hear more about his team. They won 4 games against teams that were ranked last year. They were finished in the top 20, their best poll ranking since 2001. They had 10 wins. I'm on the big orange train. I'm on Big Bert. But it's just there's a hesitation.
It has to do
across the board about Illinois is not going to break through after what they called last year maybe a little bit of a breakthrough year.
A major breakthrough year, in my opinion. And they had one 2 years before when they had Sidney Brown and Chase Brown and Devon Witherspoon and Jerzon Newton and Keith Randolph.
Casey Thompson doesn't get hurt.
They win that game. I mean, but if he doesn't overthrow Trey Palmer in the out route before that, we don't even have to throw that pass. Regardless, doesn't matter.
Guys are not sick of the TWA Dome.
But I'll give you 3 reasons why. It's because Illinois football was terrible before Bielema got there. Mm-hmm. It's because what happened to Bielema. I don't think people, like the casual fan, they don't really dive into what happened at Arkansas. They just go, failure at Arkansas, not a good coach. And then thirdly, I think it is just, we're getting media fatigue in a way, where it's like so many people are talking about how good Illinois is going to be, good Illinois is going to be, that you're just going to have people that are sick and tired of hearing it, and they're just going to fade them. Because this happens every year, where we go, oh, this team's going to be great. This team's going to break through, and then they don't.
But God, don't they have all the makings?
They do.
They
have every piece they need.
Offensive. The only place, and this has been a place where he's been good, that they have some question marks, is defensive line. Gabe Jackas at linebacker is a really, really good player. Again, that entire secondary's coming back. They had a nice little run in the portal. He retained
who's a
players.
running back?
Well, that's the question mark. They will go a little bit of a running back by committee.
Yeah, and before, I mean, they did that last year too. And you got to recognize as well, Pat Bryant was a dynamic wide receiver for them, and losing him will be, I think, a bigger loss than people recognize. But they bring back all the players in really good spots.
Was it Aiden Lotry is one of their key returners that's going to run the football? Think about this. I'm with you on the fatigue, and
when we have
they're a team just like we see in the NFL that gets a lot of offseason buzz, and then they don't buzz anymore.
Oh, Caden Fegan.
Clemson returns 81% of their returning production. Arizona State returns 79%. The Fighting Illini returns 76%.
I feel like people are talking but we're in Big Ten land. I feel like if we were in ACC land, they'd probably be talking more about Clemson. Clemson, though, is going to be.
They'd be talking about who actually owns the rights to Death Valley, Clemson or LSU. You'll find out week 1 when they meet.
We did this. I'm just a little nervous though, because I've said this over and over again, but like we did it with Virginia Tech, and we did it with Kansas last year. Now, Kansas was playing some of the best football to end the season last year, and they suffered some injuries. But It is one of those things where it just seems like the last couple of years, whether it be in the NFL or the college football, we fall in love with a team right before the season begins. And then when they get off to a shaky start, and also too, you got to think that Illinois is hearing all this noise as well. And what is a team like? Have these guys really faced that pressure before to be great? That's another factor you have to consider.
I like the personality of the head coach though to ward that kind of stuff off.
He's just a good coach.
Yeah.
He's just a good coach.
He's PJ Fleck at a school that is a little bit further south from from Minneapolis. They are good football coaches. They may not get them over the top to a championship level. They're going to produce NFL guys,
but
they're currently the best coach that their respective programs have had in a while.
And Minnesota high school football is fine, okay, but if you look at this Illinois roster, there's a lot of in-state kids, and you know that high school
Struggle to get
football,
quarterbacks in Chicago though. What's up with that?
You know, he just doesn't have the recruiting pitch that Matt Rule does. You know,
all right, Marty Cordero from the Storm Chasers, Union Omaha. He'll join us next. John Walker coming up at 9. We'll talk some Creighton baseball. We'll talk some hoops as well of what's going on. And Brandon Vogel will stop by, maybe to talk about the excitement for 7-on-7 coming up next month at Memorial Stadium. For all of those old heads that hate 7-on-7, and a football coach in Nebraska is calling it a pivotal moment, there's going to be some worlds colliding. Oh, Giants Commanders week number 1 just announced.
Oh,
schedule release day in the NFL.
I don't like that.
On Gary and Matt, 1620 The Zone. All right, tonight, the weather is warming up. Specialty jerseys, animals are at Warner Park. You know it's that time of the year. School's about to be out. Time to talk some Storm Chaser baseball. Union Omaha out at Warner Park where it's very, very busy. We welcome in the general manager, the president, among other things, Marty Cordero. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good.
Good. How are you?
I'm tired, man. You know, it's been quite a run to start the season, and last night was the beginning of 4 consecutive weeks of baseball at Warner Park. So It's exciting. It's an exciting time. Storm Chasers home through Sunday, state baseball tournament next week, and then our lone 12-game homestand coming right out of the state baseball tournament. So
Yes.
Kudos in advance to all the things that our great staff does day in and day out in Warner Park.
6:35 tonight. It'll be Game 2 of the Columbus Clippers series, which the Storm Chasers won last night. If you are planning, Noah Cameron is scheduled to pitch on Friday. Okay, so you get stopped in the grocery store. You get stopped all the other places you're at. When is Caglione getting here?
That's a great question. You know, we're eager, of course. I wouldn't say that there's a countdown internally, but we're eager for it. And, you know, I would say sometime this season. Gary, how vague is that?
Jesus. That's
media trained if I've ever heard
you're
it.
like, hey, why don't you just have me come in studio? I'd like to be a co-host. You can't. You got to have opinions. You got to go, you know what? I think it's going to be next homestand when St. Paul is here.
Well, I think you know that we plan for every Tuesday at home to be when Caglione is going to be.
Wow.
And I would tell you that we have, you know, from a media and a PR perspective, we're ready. So, you know,
Nice.
when we get that call on a Saturday or Sunday to say, hey, you know, you start a home 6-gamer on Tuesday, be ready for what's about to happen. But we are ready. We're eager. But, you know, the Royals have plans. Obviously, the big club is playing well. Our club struggled a little bit, scuffled, 3 weeks ago. But the last 2 weeks, we've been playing a little bit over 500 and got off to a great start last night as Cam Devaney hit his second grand slam in 3 days. And, we're excited about this week of baseball at the ballpark.
Marty, Matt here. So great to finally talk to you and meet you. I've heard nothing but great things from my comrades over here, Peter and Gary, and all the great work that you've been doing here in the sports in Omaha. You're my first professional executive that I've ever talked to, and so I have to ask you, what are some of the challenges running a minor league baseball team that maybe not a lot of people know about, the ins and outs that go to managing the Storm Chasers that maybe the regular person may not realize is something that you have to deal with?
Little things like trying to get Matt to understand the difference between Ozzy Osbourne and the Osmonds. I mean, those things come up on a daily basis.
Come on, come on. You were loading that one up. That was good. I'll give it to you, Marty. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, Matt. Look, good to talk to you.
Yes.
And I professional's a relative term, but the real answer to your question is, most people think, and I don't know why, but they think that we handle the baseball. They think that, in my world, I have a say when Jack Caglione comes up, or why did Noah Cameron come back down after taking a no-hitter that deep, in his big league debut, those type things. And for those that understand that, they ask, do you live here in the off season? And what time do you get, to the ballpark on a game day? I mean, today, for example, last night, for obvious reasons, I was up late, baseball game, and, mayoral election and everything happening in town. And then this morning I had calls starting at 7 a.m. So, it's not the game or the sport per se, that I am specifically a part of. My day-to-day duty is pretty much everything but that. And I sum it up pretty easily when I'm talking to, career classes and young people and sportsmen and sports marketing. We control everything but the baseball and the weather, or the soccer and the weather. Yeah. And if I had an opportunity to control one of those, it would be weather, because we would make a lot more money.
You mentioned, and Warner Park is this time of the year going to be extremely busy. Not only the Storm Chasers back home for Game 2 of a 6-game set against Columbus with Star Wars Night on Friday, which I'm sure you'll avoid. But then the state baseball is back. And everybody that saw last year in your relationship with Omaha, whether the championships are at Tal Anderson or at Warner Park, last year was such a showcase for that ballpark and a showcase for high school baseball. Do we have contract extensions? How are we with keeping this in Omaha, where you have paid so much great attention to it and have helped elevate the sport in this state?
The best things sometimes go under the radar, and we signed a multi-year extension this off season. So, we're back to year one of the agreement. So, for at least the next 4 years, you'll have the UNO and Omaha Storm Chasers partnership to continue to showcase Class A, B, and C baseball. And this weekend, that tournament starts over at Cal Anderson on Friday, and at other locations here in the metro area. Partnered with St. Louis schools, playing Papio South as well as Fricky Field. And it's going to be a great tournament. It's the first time since 2015 that Papio made the tournament, and you've got Papio South, the number 2 seed. And then Millard West has had an up and down season. What do they do? And we all know the number 1 seed out of Lincoln, how talented that squad is. Yeah. And look, Class B, Class C, it's great. We worked so diligently for so many years to get the brackets changed, and the conversations you and I've had about that over the years. And to be able to have the 2 brackets leading into the 1 game take all, which has allowed not only baseball, but also softball to get on television. We take our part in working with Colton and all those at the state very seriously. And Ethan Anderson and his crew over at UNO do such a great job as well.
Since Warner Park has opened up in 2011, how have you seen it evolve? And, are there any new things that people who may not have been to a game yet this season can expect at the park this season?
Matt, that's one of the frustrating things about the timing of the sale with DBH. There aren't a lot of new physical things that we like to boast about for 2025. We're already planning for 26. So my answer would be something that I'm not overly fond of, and that's foul pole to foul pole net. And it is safer, but we used to do a drive around with the truck for the softball ball toss to raise money for Ronald McDonald House. That's now had to be altered. Players coming off the field to toss baseball, something you wouldn't normally think about. That's altered, and the interactions with kids. And is it safer? Absolutely. Was it necessary? Well, MLB told us it was with the minor league level, so it's done. And we're just excited about our promotional calendar. You got Bark in the Park tonight. You got $3 Thursday, Mental Health Awareness Night tomorrow night, and then yes, as Gary said, Star Wars Night is Friday, and we're excited about that. And those jerseys will be auctioned off to benefit Make-A-Wish, and they do so many good things here in our region. And then I tell you, fans always say, how can I get a championship ring? Well, Pepsi is presenting championship rings, a giveaway on Saturday night. And I tell you, they're at least as heavy as our real Storm Chasers championship rings. It's a real deal, and we're excited about Saturday night. So get in line, 6 o'clock gates on Saturday.
What will you be wearing on Friday night for Star Wars night with the post-game fireworks as well?
A variety of T-shirts and jerseys over the years. I'm not a cosplay guy, and
thank you.
Just a variety of variety of hats and shirts. But it's a fun night. It's a fun night for the kids. It's a fun night for the big kids. And on the heels of the Andor finale, it's the perfect week to celebrate Star Wars night at Warner Park.
I heard the finale was fantastic. If you've not watched it.
Yeah, I haven't yet. I have 2 episodes left. I watched episode 10 last night, but 11 and 12 to go. And I would tell you, Rogue One's long been my favorite of the newer movies. The ones really since the first original 3. And this series, it really complements that. It's unbelievable.
Hey, we'll get you out on this, and let's shift over to soccer, which has started the season, but now they're back on the pitch at Warner Park playing last weekend. So now it'll be a regular. We got baseball and soccer, and everybody in the community is eagerly awaiting as you are working towards a new home for Union Omaha. For people that know you, you're your group have worked very extensively with the city of Omaha and the city government and Mayor Stothard and her administration. So you have a great relationship there. You do know John Ewing Jr., who will take over as mayor on the 9th of June. Any update on soccer's future and a new pitch for your loyal fans?
Yeah, Gary and Matt, this
Yeah.
started August 21. Talked about this a lot, and we've been back and forth on a number of sites. Our progress that we've made over the last, call it 6.5 months on the current site that we're working on, which has not been publicly announced yet. We continue to work on that. Even this morning, in spite of, the mayoral election outcome last night, Mayor Stoff has done a great job from an economic development perspective, and we believe this is an economic development project first, and then a community betterment project second, and a sports project third. And we're eager to sit down with newly elected Mayor John Ewing, who is a great man, a great community man, and we're eager to see how this project continues to move forward.
Fantastic stuff. We'll see you tonight. I hope a lot of people are out. The weather's going to be great over the entire homestand, and lots of baseball. Appreciate it, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Marty.
Supporting local sports. Matt, you got to get out to the park.
I'll get out to the park, and I got to go to Union Omaha Thursday. Thursday, June 12th. I'll be there.
Marty, he came out to watch Noah Cameron pitch. He even bought a hat with a cord on it.
I do. I wear my Storm Chasers hat probably more than any other hat on the air.
Well, ask for me next time you're there. Take care, guys.
Will do.
Have a great week.
Thanks, Marty.
That's Marty Cordero of the Storm Chasers.
I am actually going. I was looking at the Union Omaha schedule. June 12th, they have $3 night. So
there you go.
Of course,
$3 night. Well, it's the
it's a great experience.
It's the only. It's their first home game, or it's the only upcoming home game currently on the schedule. So
yeah, they just had their first one
Saturday night.
Yeah, but Thursday, June 12th, baby.
Yeah, they're one of the best in that USL. Is that
USL
right?
Yes,
one.
USL
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
They 3-1-1 night. What would do you guys know what that would be? 3-1-1 night? That's what it says.
I
One of the
believe-
owners of 311
Oh, 311
is
oh Lord.
one of the owners of Union
he's-
Omaha is
yeah,
from
he's one of the-
311.
He's on
Oh,
the ownership.
Not great.
So he'll be there.
Omaha band.
Omaha. I know.
Yes.
I know 311. I don't know. I saw 311. I thought it might have been like 312. The beer
problem.
312.
So for people that are wondering about the stadium, that's kind of your update. Mayor Stothard was heavily involved with helping Union Omaha, so I think that project will move forward. Also, a lot of people asking, and so I get you some information here for Omaha hockey fans. Next week, expect the non-con schedule to be released with some of the newest additions to the roster. Bull Market has done very, very well in helping Mike Gabinet acquire talent for their roster.
Nice.
Bull Market earned us such a fabulous job with that, the NIL collective for Omaha Athletics. So next week, expect some stuff out of hockey. Non-con schedule that include a trip up to Sioux Falls for Augustana. Mankato's coming here, but they'll announce that, and some new additions.
Nice.
So for people that were stopping me at the ballpark last night, going, hey, basketball guy, give me an update on hockey. There you go. All right, John Walker, basketball, baseball guy, all-around good guy.
All-around great guy.
He will join us next. Not sure if he's a Star Wars fan or not. Do we know that?
I don't know.
Do you identify yourself?
I have not asked John Walker over a beer if he's a Star Wars fan. I think he would be. My money would be on yes.
All right, we'll get into that. Brandon Vogel will stop by a little bit later on how Nebraska will react to adversity if it hits during the season. And also, we're going to open up the McSportsbook earlier. A listener wants to grab some odds on something surrounding Nebraska football.
Oh,
Do that in the last hour of Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. All right, good Wednesday morning, everybody. Middle of May. Coming up in September, week 2, Chiefs, Eagles, 3:25 on Fox as the schedule leaks are coming out. Speaking of schedule, John Walker joins us now from the Omaha World Herald on his weekly schedule. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
John.
Hello. I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Hey, speaking of schedules, have you heard anything like? Do we get like a little tease of a marquee Creighton non-con game this upcoming year? Anything?
Yeah, I truthfully don't. Yeah, I don't. I truthfully, honest to God, have not heard anything about their marquee standalone non-con game. But I mean the things that oh my goodness. They are going to play Nebraska again, of course, in early December, in the first week of December. I can't remember if that's December 4th or December 7th. They're going to play North Dakota. Yeah, they're going to play North Dakota at the Chi within the first couple of weeks of the season. And then, standalone, or marquee non-con games. I mean, they'll be at the Players Era Festival again. And that thing's going to be absolutely loaded this year and every year moving forward. So, but in terms of their standalone non-con marquee matchup, no, I have not heard much yet. I assume we'll know. I don't know, by the end of June.
Hey, as a hoop head that enjoys all levels of basketball, and I keep watching on a loop here, Jokic's shot last night to tie the game at 103.
Jesus.
How? For a first-time ball watcher, how would you describe him if somebody's watching Nikola Jokic play for the first time?
Captivating.
Great word.
Because you just don't see people that big do what he does.
Yeah.
Because he will put his back to the basket and he'll work around you. And he'll also set up shop at the top of the key and run the offense. It's ridiculous. And then, as you mentioned, okay, we've got him. I'm a LeBron guy, so I witnessed this firsthand in 2 separate playoff series. Okay, yeah, we just played phenomenal defense for 23.8 seconds of the shot clock.
Yeah,
and he just launches one, boom, bottom of the net. It's ridiculous, and he does it so often. So yeah, that's captivating is how I would describe Jokic for sure.
Yeah. I think that, and so following along this kind of this NBA train, because you had some great tweets yesterday when I was watching the game. I was also following you on Twitter. I feel like with Denver, right, we saw them grow in the playoffs when they had those series against Utah. And then when they played LA, especially in the bubble, and they got beat there, we saw them grow a little bit more. And I feel like without those trials and tribulations, they don't end up being the champions that they ended up being, right? Do you think we're seeing that right now with Oklahoma City and this Denver series? Then in a way we're seeing Oklahoma City having, gaining that playoff experience and learning how to win because Denver is so damn good?
I think so, but at the same time, like there's no real trials and tribulations here. OKC's up 3-2.
Sure. Sure.
So that's where it's different. Is Denver had those hard fought series with Utah when they still had Gobert and Jokic wasn't as experienced, and
Nurkic.
They still had Donovan Mitchell.
Yep.
And so that was kind of the point that the Nuggets were at. Well, then they added a couple of young pieces and built around, and they have, I think, before the Thunder resurgence this year, because Chet was hurt last year, obviously. I think that Denver had the most thorough starting 5 in the NBA. Again, it was kind of pick your poison. Like you're going to run a 2-man game if you want to with Jokic and Murray, or you're going to let Murray just cook in ISO. You're going to let Jokic do what he does. Oh, and by the way, if you want to crash, okay, we're going to kick to Michael Porter Jr. And now Aaron Gordon, a lifelong slasher, is a 40% 3-point shooter. Like, that's ridiculous.
Sure.
But I think we're seeing the young Bucks grow up on the fly.
Yeah.
Hey,
They were the best team in the NBA all season long, and they're showing that again throughout the postseason.
Yeah, Shea 31, 6-7 last night. Hey, quick aside from this series, but Oklahoma City Thunder. You worked in Stillwater, so you're just outside of Oklahoma City. Why does the Oklahoma City Thunder work so well in that market? That has had great college sports, football to basketball, but now they have a well-established NBA team.
It's the only professional team in the state. And that's, I won't get too far off. That's why college athletics do so well down there. Because there are no professional teams, or there's only one, I should say, and that's the Thunder. On top of that, the state has kind of been starved for good basketball. Outside of the Trae Young year, and I guess the Buddy Hield era at OU, in Oklahoma State has only had one good season in the last 15, 20 years or so, right? Like that was the Cade Cunningham year. So the state is just starved for one, really good basketball, and two, professional sports. And you get both of those with the Thunder. Much like guys, it's kind of the thing to go do is go to a Creighton game in Omaha. It is very much the thing to do to go to an Oklahoma City Thunder game when you live down there.
So the population in Oklahoma City is 700,000. The population here in Omaha is 1 million. In your experience here in 2 years, right, in Omaha at this point for you, John?
Yeah, a little over 18 months.
In your experience, do you think that a pro team, whether it be basketball, whether it be hockey, but do you think a pro team here in Omaha could have the same effect in OKC?
I do. The problem is you would again, part of the reason that OKC is so well supported, and I think they would still have the support if the college teams were good too.
Sure.
But certainly part of it is because they've been starved for good basketball. Nobody in Omaha has been starved for good basketball. So that's part of it. I wonder how that would affect it. And I think it would depend on how the team gets here. If it's an expansion team, I think Omaha would fully rally behind it. If, let's say, let's step out of this alternate reality and back into the real world for a second. If the Portland Trailblazers got sold, next off season, and the owner, whoever bought it, said, I'd love to take this team to Omaha, Nebraska. I don't think Omaha would be as warm to it. Like they'd be excited, sure.
That's interesting.
And then the last point I'll make is there are a lot of professional teams around here. Like we have 4 different volleyball leagues, 3 different volleyball leagues, and UNO and Creighton, and obviously, down the road is Nebraska, and we know how big of a brand that is in the fall, right? So I don't know. It would certainly have to take the right team. You would have to have one of those franchise players who just kind of is welcomed by everyone in the community to kind of get you through that initial hump. But I will say this last thing, promise. Omaha, the city, packs the CHI Health Center for a Supernovas volleyball game. I have the utmost confidence that they would pack the CHI Health Center for an NBA game.
John Walker, the World Herald, joining us. Let's stick with Creighton basketball and on the NBA level because the Combine is in Chicago and guys got measured in socks, not in shoes. But Kalkbrenner is a legit 7'1". Thank you, Creighton. Most of their heights are legit in what they do at the beginning of the year. But as you listen to people that have gone through the tape of Kalkbrenner and are figuring out where he fits, and mock drafts will either have him as at the end of the first round or in the first couple of picks of the second round. Like Philadelphia at 35 has become a popular spot. But if you're looking at his skill set and you know the NBA well enough, what kind of team does he have to go to that would allow him to develop at that level?
Yeah, to properly develop, I think the situation Baylor Shireman was in this year was perfect. Like nobody wants to get drafted with the anticipation of going to the G League for half the year, right? But with the way the NBA set up right now, you'd almost rather take like that route, and be one of these guys who, if you're not a lottery pick, that is, right? But if you're not a lottery pick, you'd almost rather take that route because you get the reps that you otherwise wouldn't. Like, there's a reason that Baylor spent so much time in the G League, and guys like Bronny James spent a lot of time in the G League. It's because they're not going to get reps with the Lakers. They're not going to get reps with the Celtics, not a ton anyways. And so you can develop, in the G League. And then, as we saw over the season, Baylor kind of established himself, and the Celtics started to give him more and more minutes. He started a couple of games down the stretch once the Celtics had already secured playoff position. And those reps matter. Like, you're putting yourself on tape for, in this instance, Joe Mazzulla to see for the following season. So then, with the way the current NBA set up, teams are only allowed to spend so much money. And furthermore, they only want to spend so much money to stay under the first and especially the second apron.
Yeah.
That's where a guy like Baylor Shireman, that's where a guy like Ryan Kalkbrenner steps in, is, these fringe first-round guys who, in the broad view, are budget options, right? Like, Baylor Shireman's not going to break the bank for Boston. Ryan Kalkbrenner's not going to break the bank for insert team.
Yeah.
So those are guys who can have opportunities. I think a contender or a mid-level team that needs a true backup big would be a perfect situation for Kalk. I really do. I don't exactly know what team that would be. Like, I think the situation in Philly could be a mess because is Embiid done? Is he going to play? Does he play half a season and have another season-ending injury? Like, nobody knows. So I think that situation could be a mess. But there'd be minutes up for grabs in Philly. That I do know. So we'll just kind of see what happens. I think he's tested really well so far this week. He's not going to participate in the scrimmages. In my opinion, it could only hurt him because Ryan Kalkbrenner's brand of defense is shot blocking, right? Like, he helps off and this, that, and the other. And you don't really get that connectivity playing at the combine. And he started 138 games at Creighton. So anybody who wants to know what type of player Ryan Kalkbrenner is, well, turn on tape from the last 5 years.
So
yeah, I think he'll be. I think that's right. I've got him somewhere picked between like 28 and 38.
Sounds about right.
Reading the scouting reports on him, the concern is the lateral agility and the foot speed.
Right.
And, but there is the silver lining and the potential of, maybe he can develop a 3-point shot and become more of a stretch on the offensive end of the floor. I'll throw a team out there to you and tell me if I'm crazy. But what if Milwaukee drafted him and tried to do the same thing they did with Brook Lopez and take a guy who was very dominant within the paint, who could be very fluent on offense, but then develop a 3-point shot to the point where he became a legitimate spacing big man on a championship team?
Yeah, I mean, he certainly could. I don't even know if he needs to.
Oh,
like that would obviously make him that much more intriguing of a prospect. But Walker Kessler shot 17% from three this past season.
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he shot 20% from three the season before. So like, I think Ryan shot 30 something, the early 30s, 32, 33% this year on more attempts than the previous two seasons combined, I think. So he has shown that he's grown in that area. I can think back to a few times this year down the stretch where he'd step into a three and nail it, and that was the game, right?
Yeah.
So he's definitely improved, and a lot of that has to do with his confidence, truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
And he's worked on his form a little bit, but he just looks more confident when the ball comes out of his hands from outside. So it would certainly add to his game. Like, he's got a lot of the Brook Lopez comp, and I think that's really, really, really accurate. I truthfully, same thing with Philly. Is that a situation you want to go into?
I
if they're about to trade Giannis?
I wouldn't. I would want to stay away from Philly as far as possible.
Or Milwaukee. Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
Philly. Like, what if they're going to blow things up and trade Giannis, then maybe that is the situation a guy like Ryan wants to step into, where there'd be minutes available. It seems, but yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think he needs to further develop his 3-point shot to be impactful in the NBA, but it would certainly help. But I think long term, a guy like Ryan Kalkbrenner will make his money the same way a guy like Walker Kessler does with his rim protection.
Hey, we'll get chatter on this, and let's talk some baseball. Big win last night by Creighton, 19-3. Thank God for the run rule. But runners on base, got key hits. North and Dieters, which the Rob Anderson stat, that Teddy Dieters has hit a grand slam in all 3 Division I parks in the state is like
awesome.
Some of Rob's best work. But now as they go into the final weekend and then go from D.C. home back to Ohio and maybe to the NCAA tournament, you've gotten to write about Ed's last year, and it's coming toward an end, and we see on Sunday the grandkids are on the field. Last night they honored him, and I think Ed was really touched by what Omaha did. Do we have to include also the story of a year where there are 20-plus games over 500, that Ed is managing this season well? His pitching coach is someone he didn't select.
Yeah.
The coach in waiting is in the dugout with him. Maybe there's some other guys on the staff that are not Ed guys, but yet the players have been able to persevere and get to this point.
Yeah, and Ed had a presser on Monday. Creighton didn't make him available after the game on Sunday. But Ed had a presser on Monday where he was asked kind of that same thing. And he was like, well, we haven't really talked about it with the players. Like, I haven't talked with them too much, that it's my, that I'm done after this year. He's reiterated from the time we talked to him in February all the way through Monday that it's about the players. And he did not want this season to be about him or about Mark Kingston or about the coach in waiting. He wanted it to be about the players. And he said Monday that he thinks, based on how the players have gone on about their business all season, that they've done a successful job of that. But it is certainly an oddity, right? Like, he didn't pick Billy Mole. He didn't bring in Mike Current. He kind of had a part in Mark Kingston, obviously. But yeah, it's odd. Like, he's, for the most part, just kind of there, like, he's still managing. He is still the skipper. But he knows, and Mark Kingston knows, and Mark Kingston's future assistants, I suppose, know the situation. And so I commend Mark and Mike and Billy, because, from the get-go last summer when they were brought in, they said, we don't want to step on toes. We want to do whatever coach needs us to do to send him out on the right note. And here we are nearly a year later, and I'd say they're well on their way to doing that.
Yeah, be an interesting next couple of weeks. John, as always, we appreciate the knowledge. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.
That is the great John Walker from the Omaha World Herald.
What a ball knower. That's just a ball knower.
He dropped Walker Kessler in an interview. And knowing that he shot 17% from 3-point range this past NBA season.
And 23% the year before. The guy...
Maybe he doesn't like Walker Kessler.
You think he's got bad memories?
Maybe he hated that pick.
It's just incredible. I just whenever you could drop a niche NBA player and then on top of it say your stats, I go, okay, this guy knows his way around the block. I'm telling you though, I think Milwaukee would be a great spot for Ryan Kalkbrenner, because also think about when they won their title in 2021, playing that entire playoffs, what were we talking about on the defensive end? The drop defense, the drop defense. Exactly what Brook Lopez was doing. I think that if they brought him in and they go, here's this guy we had that worked for us, here's what we think we can develop you into, I really think Milwaukee would be an awesome spot for him.
They don't pick. Of course, they don't have first round pick for 5 years. They don't pick till 47.
Yeah, they would have to trade for him, obviously. And I mean, but that's just me. That's just me looking at the league and being like, where does Ryan? What can Ryan Kalkbrenner, develop into, and who's developed that type of player before?
Look at you, ball knower.
I'm trying.
When we come back, we got a question for McSportsbook, and we are checking off the boxes of off-season college football content. We just got something dropped into our laps. We'll touch on that when we return. Plus, Brandon Vogel will slide in with the birds in the background from his beautiful home in Chattanooga, Tennessee, from counterread.com. That's still to come before we hand it over to the man, the myth, the legend that can spin a 19-3 baseball game better than Denny Matthews. It's 1620 The Zone. All right, your morning may include your first look at Nicolas Cage as John Madden.
Yeah,
And Christian Bale as Al Davis on the set of the upcoming film Madden.
So someone tweeted that at us,
Yeah.
and I looked at it, and I go, I thought it was an actual picture of those two guys, of John Madden and Al Davis. I had no clue that I just looked at it quickly.
Now,
it's very good.
Christian Bale does a really good Al Davis, but
it's still Nick Cage.
Yeah, Nick Cage looks like somebody I went to high school with that had the perm.
He does have that hair.
Yeah.
His name, the guy that I'm thinking of, his name was Caleb. He looks like Caleb. I'm being dead serious right now. Caleb.
Is he swatting Husker Twitter people away as well?
No, I think he went to.
Caleb?
I think
Caleb.
No, different Caleb. He's not calling people losers. He's going.
Whoa.
I think he went to Loris.
Whoa.
What?
Called people losers?
Caleb. Yeah, Caleb who went to Loris can call people losers.
But the Caleb that worked at KLIN calls people losers?
He had a tweet that said it.
Damn. Man, we lost our mind on Monday. But here I'm ready to bring it back.
Yeah, by the way, we are the guys that did the whole over the last 4 coaches, what would you change? So it's not
stop.
It's not like we can wipe our hands but we're not talking about the
focused
past.
On the current and even further back coaches. So
we gave we let off with Bo. We even got to Mike Riley.
Yeah, which you would have told me that back in 2014. So are you ready? There are things that happen during the offseason, start times, kick times.
Yes.
We're waiting June 1. We will go to Lincoln. We will hang out outside of Memorial Stadium. We will wait for the white smoke to come out of the Husker Vision studios. And then emerging will be Nebraska's new punter, June 1. So that's you. Check that off. Barry Trammell will write an article about how Nebraska and Oklahoma need to be back in the Big 8 again.
Can't wait for that one.
The win totals are out, courtesy of Circus Sports. Now, a lot of these have been out for a while, but I guess Circus Sports is the college football win totals.
Okay.
Not really a surprise. Nebraska's is 7.5. Iowa, Illinois, which we just talked about, which is very surprising, at 7.5. Washington, I love their quarterback.
Yeah.
I think Washington and Michigan State are going to be 2 teams that might be a little bit better than we think.
I agree with Michigan State.
I love Jonathan Smith. I love their quarterback. I think Michigan State, they're 5.5. I think they might sneak up there and get to a bowl game and maybe win 7. Minnesota 6.5. Did I mention USC is 7.5? Ohio State 10.5. Oregon 10.5. Penn State 10. Indiana 8.5. Michigan 8.5. The bottom dwellers who are just sucking off the teat of the Big Ten.
Yep.
They're getting the money, but they're not carrying the freight. Rutgers 5.5, UCLA 5.5, Wisconsin 5.5. That might be the lowest win total in the history of Wisconsin football. Maryland 4.5. Your beloved Chicago team.
The two-time Big Ten West champions.
Win. In this current era,
I just want to remind people.
He doesn't work there anymore.
I know. He's going to end up being the Iowa head coach at some point in his career. It's gonna be really difficult.
Whoa. His son is going to Iowa to play football.
You watch it happen. He's going to, all of a sudden, his son's going there. Then he's going to be a defensive analyst. And then Kirk is going to leave. And then Patty will be the DC.
Nope. I think if I'm Iowa, I think LeVar Woods is a great coach.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
I think there might be a guy that signed a 6-year extension yesterday. I wonder if there's a little bit of in fine print to go to Iowa City. Or if I'm Iowa, and then they have a brand new athletic director who has had to make a Ben McCollum hire, had to make the transition from Lisa Bluter to Jan Jensen.
Yeah.
Why not Chris Kleiman to come home? He's from Waterloo, Iowa.
I like
that.
The
home of John Deere, the home of the Greyhound track that no longer exists, the home of the Waterloo Blackhawks.
Oh, wow. Aren't they the Waterloo Black now? Aren't they? Didn't they take the Hawks away? USHL, right?
Yeah.
I thought it's just or is that a different team?
They're just the Blacks?
I thought they're the Waterloo Black. I thought that was their...
They're still the Blackhawks.
Okay.
I
thought
the Blackhawks.
I thought they cut off the Hawks part.
I don't even know what you do with that.
No, they've been the Waterloo Blackhawks since
I know.
I was
I
a
don't
little
know.
toddler.
I don't know. I
playing
thought
at
I saw
McElroy
multiple
Auditorium.
maybe it's a soccer team. I saw multiple times that it was like.
How about a rugby team? That might be better.
Maybe it's
just stick
that.
with the
Maybe it's
Waterloo
that.
rugby team. Is called the Waterloo Blacks.
There we go.
I'm being. I thought it. I thought.
And
I
Purdue
got an
has-
ant. There's another ant.
And Purdue has 3
There's
wins.
another hand. No.
So you have your win totals. You've been teased before. Nebraska has gone under recently. 7.5. I think people will hammer the over.
You think they beat Minnesota?
In your mixed sports book, remember, they just need to win 8 of those
I know.
games. Kind of like my Chicago White Sox, who, by the way, are 6-6 in the month of May. In the mixed sports book, are you going to get more play on the over or under of 7.5? Because 7.5 seems pretty safe, but it puts you in a precarious position to go, 7-5 or 8-4. UCLA, by the way, Jeff chimes in right away. He said, hammer over UCLA 5.5. He thinks UCLA with Nico will be better.
What is the over? Has got to be what, minus 120?
I do not have the
odds?
juice. I just have the number. I'm just the numbers guy. You're the mixed sports book.
I think the juice would probably be plus odds on the under.
Okay.
And I think that would be the better value play.
All right.
I wouldn't. If the odds are plus or just straight up even on the under, I would take the under.
A lot of people saying that the Illinois smash Illinois. Have you ever wanted to smash Illinois? You maybe did because you're from there.
Yeah.
Smash.
Hey, there's a couple of times where hell yeah. What
is
Hell
Illinois
yeah.
at? What's Illinois at?
They are at 7.5, but they might start the year as the 10th best team in.
I would bet that right
college
now.
football.
I'm not a guy who's betting. I don't bet futures in May, but
Okay.
that would be a number where that just seems really, really low. I think.
Now-
Look, I think that if you think more than likely your value, right?
Mhm.
Like more than likely, you can make the better argument for 8 wins. Okay, as
yeah.
opposed to 7.
And you know, because you run the mixed sports book, if you set a line,
Yeah,
you know that the Nebraska fans like to
They do.
like to jiggy with things like that.
Exactly.
So you know what you're doing.
No, so
Circus smart, very smart.
so if it's a good line, and I think
Yeah.
the better argument is for 8 wins. At the same time, what's the best value, right? I
Yeah.
do think the best value is hitting the under because I can see them losing to Michigan. I can see them losing to Penn State. I can see them losing to Iowa. I can see them losing to USC at home.
That'd be 4.
I can see them losing to Minnesota
That'd
at
be
Minnesota. That's 5 right there.
Okay.
Okay. They've lost games like the ones against Michigan State at home in the team's past. Okay.
So you're at 6-6.
No, I'm just telling you that there are legitimate
Oh yeah, you can make arguments on both sides.
exactly.
I'm fair and balanced. I'm Fox.
So let's just go with the value, and I would take the under.
Okay.
It's not me. I'm not making my record prediction. I'm not making my record prediction and saying they're 7.
Don't worry, you have 106 days before kickoff to do that.
I do think the value would be at the under.
Interesting. Iowa 7.5.
That is interesting.
Doesn't Ferentz fall out of bed and win 7?
I would take that. That's like a Steelers
Right.
that's like a Steelers over.
Email into the Equitable Bank inbox. This is from Ted, who has a question. He said, I heard your enjoyment of an 8 o'clock game. Unfortunately, my job will prevent me from being at Arrowhead. So I will be forced and unfortunately have to watch the game on ESPN. My question is, do Nebraska fans with this game being on ESPN, are they prepared for the inevitable that Mark Jones will be doing the game and they will make America hate Dylan Raiola as they will compare him to Patrick Mahomes blank times? Please ask Mick Sportsbook, what is the over and under of ESPN's references doing the game at Arrowhead Stadium between Dylan Raiola and Patrick Mahomes?
7.5.
He said, prepare accordingly, Husker fans. Everybody in America is going to hate us.
5.5. 5.5 would be the line.
Now, does it have to do, like, if Mark Jones is the announcer, it may be higher than that.
I would say that we're going to get to the fourth quarter, and what will put us over the edge is, I know we've been saying it all night, but that off-platform throw, it looks like number 15 and a different type of red who's playing in this stadium every Sunday. That's a Pat Mahomes reference. That's what they'll say. And he's going to be an Arrowhead, too. It's going to be ridiculous.
No. Well, yeah,
Ridiculous.
Dylan will. I think, fortunately, Patrick Mahomes will not, because that would be the final preseason game.
Okay.
So it would be on the road.
You don't think Travis, though, would take that game off and be there?
Dude, have you watched the New Heights podcast?
No, I haven't.
I wonder how much weight he has lost.
So I saw that headline. It said 25 pounds.
So did he say he's lost 25?
That's the headline I saw.
He looks great. He looks so much younger than he did last year.
Good for him.
Oh,
Good for him, man.
That's
what happens when you have a stressful relationship.
No, they don't have stress. They have no stress whatsoever.
I'm just planting the seeds of a breakup. I'm just trying to get in your head.
They're not going to break up. They're going to get engaged.
No,
they're getting engaged. Why? They're a great couple. They're in love. I love it. It's great. You know what?
Yeah, they both made a boatload of money off of it.
Wow. You know what? Just because your relationships suck,
oh my,
you don't
God.
have to take it out on people that are in love.
Wow.
You know what?
Yeah, you know what? If I was making a ton of money off my relationship, I'd be in love too. But in fact, I was losing a lot of money off the last go around.
Well, because $15.99 a month is not a good deal on OnlyFans. You got to go for the 6-monther. Brandon Vogel of Counter Read.
I got to go somewhere other than the UNMC. It's failing me. Peter like that one. Do you want me to do the outro here, partner?
No. I don't want you to do anything.
He's in disbelief.
Still bitter, huh?
No, it's funny to make. It's funny.
Her Instagram is on fire.
No, it's funny to make jokes.
He's a good-looking guy. He's like 6'2".
She got froyo with someone over the weekend.
We'll talk some football, among other things, when Mr. Vogel stops by next. All right, welcome back in, Gary and Matt, with Peter and our good friend from counterread.com, where there is some fantastic off-season content dealing with the current head coach. It is Brandon Vogel. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. Hey, speaking of the current head coach, he was on the statewide radio network last night. He looks relaxed, refreshed.
Yes.
He looked a little stressed and a little bit older during spring ball, but he's into his off-season. He made a comment about their transition from year 2 to year 3, and you can tell whether openly or subtly he really likes what they have.
Mm-hmm.
More interesting from your viewpoint how they react to adversity or deal with success this upcoming season.
I think it's still react to adversity. And I mean, I think for the most part, we've seen that in game a little bit with some of the close losses. Like I feel like the adversity part of it tends to still snowball more than like, yeah, you haven't been able, like you Colorado game last year, good example, like high profile, big win. Um, Came out, didn't play all that well the following week, but still got the win. You just look at one, and I've been looking at it a lot for stuff that I've been working on. The 2 seasons of Matt Rule, and you've just kind of got these long mid-season losing streaks, and that's the difference in terms of like, is Nebraska going to have kind of a top end near its ceiling type of season in 2025? If it does, it's got to avoid those. It's got to avoid those 3 to 4 week losing streaks where, yeah, they might be close games. You might have had a great shot to win them, but you've got to come out on top on those.
Let's say that they go this season and they end up going 9-3, but their 3 losses are to the top 3 teams that they play this season. Do you think the reaction will be, oh my God, great progress, 9 wins, it's been a while since we've done that? Or will it be, man, well, you didn't really beat anybody?
No, I think it would trend more towards progress. So top 3 teams they would play, like
Penn State, Michigan, Iowa.
Penn State, Michigan, Iowa. Right. So the tough part about that, the part that would dull it would be 2 November losses in terms of Penn State and Iowa, which the Iowa game has taken on, I think, a bit of unique meaning in recent years. So there's that piece of it. Yeah, I look at, because I'm writing this for tomorrow, looking at the second 4 games of Nebraska's schedule. That October stretch is a big opportunity for them. Like you look at the opening of the season, they've got 2 games that I think will be pretty competitive and tough in Michigan and Cincinnati, and 2 that like you absolutely should win. October, like it's on paper, looks like a pretty good October setup. So could Nebraska get there? And if we're talking about 9-3 and penciling in a loss to Michigan, which I think is fair, you're not going to close with a ton of momentum, but I still think 9-3. And if it's just like, well, yep, those 3 other programs, they're still ahead of us. That's what it is. Would be a good step forward.
So on the heels of what Matt just asked you, and you rattled off Penn State, Michigan, Iowa, 2 of those 3 games are in the pivotal month of November, which has plagued, I don't care if it's me coaching Nebraska football in the last 20 years, the last month of the season hasn't been good. Are we just ignoring, and I'm not saying this you, but sure, adding this to conversation, because November is going to be the month that you're remembered. I think I'm the first to ever say that. What about USC? That just strikes me after that stretch. You got Minnesota in the month of October. There's like benchmarks of, okay, let's take the temp of Nebraska, opening day, Michigan, middle of October, trip to Minnesota. It seems like another temperature check is the USC game on November 1, which to me, with 2 programs that might be in similar spots, but not like where the recruiting rankings of 26 are, like that could be just a monster game for a guy named Lincoln Riley and a guy named Matt Rule.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And that's probably the big flex game in that November stretch. There's a couple of games here where, well, there's two that I can think of off the top of my head. Like, I think at Maryland is a can't lose game for Nebraska. It's not a must win. It's a you don't have the season you want to have if you lose that game. I don't think. I think UCLA is a little bit of that, though adding a high profile quarterback, maybe that changes a little bit. And the teams are much different in November than what we think of them now. But in terms of USC coming to Lincoln, like Nebraska's, I think from a program perspective, it's just had less tumult and less turmoil. It should be on more solid footing. That's on your home field. The two teams are probably pretty equal. So go out there and figure out a way to win it. So that's why that one kind of stands out as a potential turning point for me. And then it obviously sets up some of those bigger games. If we're entertaining the idea of 9-3, like two of those losses would come after that. So where would Nebraska be if they get through that USC game and only have one loss?
So, that would be fun.
That would be great. It'd be ideal. It'd be awesome. Hey, so ESPN is going to be the broadcast partner for Week 1 for the Cincinnati Nebraska game, and I think that people like, and the vibe I get from Nebraska football fans is people like Fox because Fox is familiar with Nebraska. You have multiple announcers who've announced a lot of Nebraska games, who understand the path that this program has taken dating back to even before Matt Rule became the head coach. But despite the fact that there isn't that familiarity with ESPN toward Nebraska necessarily, do you still think it's a good thing that the Huskers are on a different national platform?
Yeah, I do. I don't think there's downside to it. Like, people will always have an issue with the call in some regard.
Sure.
Maybe they come in not liking, the play-by-play or the color person. Or there's a lot that goes into that sort of perception. But I think Nebraska getting that 8 p.m. kickoff on what ends up being a pretty busy night, for college football is definitely not a bad thing. Like, I think they'll be interested in the Huskers, from a broader perspective. Nationally, like, Matt Rule's year 3 reputation kind of precedes him, and like he's done nothing to diminish that, through his comments, like talking about it fairly often. So, and it should be, I think, a pretty good game. Like,
Yeah.
Cincinnati, I think Cincinnati's got a chance. They should be a bowl team. Let's put it that way. And I think you put Nebraska in, like, definitely should be a bowl team, but it's hard to go confidently much higher than that at this point. Um, should be a pretty square matchup as far as that goes.
Do you think with the influence ESPN has on just the college football landscape that there could be a lasting impact if Nebraska looks good on ESPN television?
Yeah, I do think so. I think that's a great point. Like, it doesn't hurt that Nebraska is, no longer, on ESPN as much as it was. Like, and especially being a Thursday night game, before the season really ramps up. Like, if you go out there and you make an impression, like, that probably earns you a little bit more from ESPN for a couple of weeks.
Matt and I were talking about Illinois earlier, and their win total is 7.5, but a team that could be 10, 11, 12 in preseason polls. You are an athletic director. You only have two choices to hire a program. Well, let's say it's a 500 program, and the expectations are not super high. The attention is not super high, but you have a loyal fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Are you hiring Brett Bielema or PJ Fleck?
Oh,
Whew. That's a really great question. Like, I understand PJ Fleck's quirks and personality, and it rubs a lot of people the wrong way. It's kind of like not naturally the fit for me, but I have a tough time assailing many of the results that he has. But having looked at it recently, particularly some of those Nebraska Illinois games, like it's tough to argue with Brett Bielema as well. I mean, and he's had 2 seasons that I thought were way better than I would have projected at Illinois already. And what's different about this 2025 is they come in there, as you mentioned, probably a top 15 preseason team with 7.5 win total, which feels closer to, I think, realistic, but a lot of people will project them to win 10 games. Yeah, I think I would probably choose Bielema just because it's a little more middle of the road. Like, yep, we're hiring a football coach. Like PJ's flex stuff works, but it can't. Would it work outside of Minnesota? Would it work I don't think it would work at Nebraska. I don't think it would go all that well. But maybe I'm wrong about that. I think Brett Bielema just fits more places based on where he's been.
Do you think Bielema having success at Wisconsin, knowing that he's had success at 2 different places, factors into that?
Yeah, I would agree. And the Arkansas thing got a little bit weird. Like he took his swing, and he had one like legitimately good team there, and then it just kind of became, I think, got wrapped up a little bit in some of the SEC stuff, and you put 2 bad seasons together, and all of a sudden they're ready to move on. But having success in multiple places, him being a Big Ten guy, kind of at his heart in terms of where he grew up and where he played. I think plays into that as well, because realistically, maybe the playoff expands soon, maybe it's a little bit, but you're talking about, and this is what Illinois put themselves in this position. Bielema has done this of like, can you be one of the 4 best teams in the Big Ten? And they are there.
Yeah. Hey, great stuff. What do we have to look forward to? I know we'll have the Friday 5 coming up on Friday, but you and Aaron are percolating some stuff at counterread.com.
Yeah, so tomorrow I've got, like I said, looking at the October stretch. So my 3-part preseason breakdown of the schedule, breaking it out into 4-game chunks. And I think it's really interesting. It's kind of feels like a pivotal time for Nebraska. So been working on that the past couple of days, and then hoping. I haven't got confirmation on this yet. I really want to talk to Matt Rule about the Temple years. So we'll see if he's interesting in revisiting.
Oh, that will be very interesting. As always, my friend, thank you. Have a great weekend with your wonderful family.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good
Thank you, Brandon.
Brandon Vogel from Counter Read. You can follow him on Twitter at Brandon L. Vogel. Oh, you raised your hand. I thought you were in.
No, I was wiping something off of my fingers.
We need a overhead shot of things that go on over there with your beverages.
I have a lot of weird mannerisms, man. Like the feet on the chair, the moving the hands. I don't know what it is. I've always been this way. I've always been a little. Also, too, I drank a Monster as opposed to coffee today.
Yeah.
So if
you're on edge.
Well, no, I think if anyone was like, Matt had a lot of energy today, I think that's probably what it was. It was all of these weird chemicals I've never put in my body before, as opposed to the black coffee.
Peter, thanks for sitting in to Jimmy. We think that he'll be back tomorrow, and Matt will laugh at him for having kidney stones.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I'll laugh at anybody for anything. I don't discriminate.
And we'll talk about your favorite Waterloo, Iowa USHL team that I think made the Clark Cup final this year.
And we'll talk about the PGA Tour, the PGA Championship.
Yes, PGA Championship tomorrow.
Big Sportsbook is back open.
Be nice to Quail Hollow in Charlotte. It's a great course. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 6. Crossovers coming up next.